everybody. Welcome to HELLION ARTSHOW number 20. I am Reedy, your host, and I'm here today with regular / I guess your co-host at this point, Chimera, and our special guest, Joe Ball. Hello.
Hey. What's up, y'all?
What up? So thank you for coming on. Joe Ball is the creator of Death, Death, Death. Some of you in the comments might have seen his comic. It looks fantastic. It's super detailed. I don't know how you do art this detailed. I mean, I'm a connoisseur of detail, but you take it to a whole new level. It's insane. But that's not the only subject we're going to talk about today. We're going to talk about so I've seen that it seems like Joe, you incorporated a lot of mythology and mythological beings into your work. And actually, I think all three of us here kind of do that for our comics. So I thought a cool subject we can tackle would be incorporating mythology into comics. So that's what we're going to be talking about right after I say hi to the chat. Yay! Okay. And I think Vinny might be joining us in a bit. I think, maybe, I don't know. Okay. Replicant, hello! What's up? Yeah, I didn't do a show last week because I was busy fulfilling books. Honestly, I still am. I have like 20 books to mail out tomorrow, literally, and I need to hire somebody. But the books for Fiendish are going out, and people have been sending me pictures. It's really exciting. So yeah. Okay. Eric, what's up?
The campaign looks like it's going great for you.
It's going pretty good. Yeah, I mean, I'm still surprised it's at where it's at, but thank you everyone. Back to book. It's at I think we're just past 30K of like 30,600 or something. It's insane. It's when I say the number, it doesn't register. But it's
it's a good looking book. You know, it's you did something that there's demand for, and it paid off.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, there is a lot of Princess Mononoke. I'm reading it again. There's a lot of Princess Mononoke elements. You really like that movie.
I do. No, Princess Mononoke is my favorite movie. It's not just animation movie. It's my favorite movie. I mean, yeah, I'm sure it shows. And honestly, there's a lot of FMA reference as well. And I don't do it on purpose. It just, when I read my writing, it shows through. I really like FMA, Princess Mononoke. Obviously, like the Berserk, so everybody can tell. But there is a lot of Princess Mononoke in there. So yeah, you'll be able to tell when you read the book. Ray Rahu, hello. Hi, John. Eric. Tell me if I'm saying that right. I'm not saying that right. Lord Kraken. Hello, what's up? And I saw Jason from Unhinged Entertainment before you. I can't find him in the chat now, but let me show a few quick pictures of people's books. So I thought that would be pretty awesome. Let's see. Boop boop. Boop boop. Yay! There we go. So that was somebody said it was their birthday. So I tried to send it to them on time for the birthday. I don't know I don't think it worked, but anyways. So this is the package that I'm sending out right now. I'm sending all the orders for the Grayscale book first, or if you order only the Grayscale book and the art book, you'll be getting these first. And the trading cards are for everybody. So everybody's going to be getting these for trading cards. And the stickers, as you can see, let's see. Here you go.
I like the cover on the Grayscale one. That's cool.
Yeah, the Lovecraft Jim.
Yeah.
Thank you. Yeah, it turned out pretty well. I wasn't sure about it. I was a little iffy about, because I was going kind of simplistic with it, but it turned out well. The printer did a good job too. If you can't tell, I have a video from last week on my channel showing off, like I took a video of the cover. You can see more that, let me see, the text, like the white text and the little publisher logo on the corner is glossy. Post. Yeah, it is. Because you're one of the few people who actually took pictures of the book. So, hey, if you got your book, you take pictures of it and I'll show it on stream. It's really cool. I'd love to see those.
That, and I'm like, wait a minute. I was like, that's my bed. What the fuck?
Unboxing Chimera is bad. I'm sorry. But here are the trading cards. And the stickers are for people who backed before during the active campaign. So not everyone is getting those, but I should be offering those again for chapter 2. So
yes,
yeah.
I backed her before she was famous.
Sure. I mean, I'm still not famous, but
you were famous
cool.
when you came in drunk yelling about Blinko on Shane's channel.
I guess what I just give in and give no fucks and completely embarrass myself. That's when that's when I've arrived. I was not aware that that's the moment, but I guess.
No, you were famous when you arrived when EBS wanted to punch you in the face. That was awesome.
Oh yeah, no, that was like my first time on Shane's. No, it was my second time on Shane's stream.
Yeah.
Because I made a sandwich and he's like, "Who's this bitch?" Oh, he didn't say that. he just didn't know. He thought it was just a picture of some chick from the internet.
Right.
And then I was in the background. He's like, "Who is she?" And she says, "That sandwich doesn't look good. Doesn't have meat. I'm gonna punch her in the face." And I came on the stream. He's like, "Oh, hi. I didn't know you were a person."
The timing was like.
It was like right before I hopped on too. It was perfect timing. No. He's a nice person. Let's see. So here are his picture of books. They're being shipped out. I'm so glad I got that packing tape, and it's turned out really awesome. So if you, this is the package that everybody who ordered the book, you'll be getting a Gemini mailer with my fancy fiendish packing tape. Yay. So there you go. Sumathori, what's up? It has meat. It just didn't show in the sandwich. It had tuna in it. And then people were still mad about it, but there was meat. Yeah, they thought I didn't put meat in it.
Americans are like, fish ain't meat.
Yeah, exactly.
I know. Yeah. Friggin' Americans.
Yeah.
Spoiler.
What? Spoiler what? Thank you, RSV Graham. You didn't embarrass yourself any more than Drunk Shane, John, and Cecil do at least once a month. Okay, cool. I guess I should just give in and embarrass myself more. Norrin Turbo, hello. All right, I guess I should see just real quick where Fiendish is at so far. And if you haven't seen, I've updated the campaign with the color pages from Nick. So you can see some of these colors. I've put these in, and he just updated some more of the colors, so I should be adding those in as well. So yeah, you can see this is what the color version will look like, and good stuff.
Beautiful.
Thank you! Yay! All right, enough about that. And let me see where 30,607 over 700 backers. We hit 30K and 700 backers like pretty much at the same time. So once again, thank you so much to everybody who backed this book. You're awesome. Awesome.
Those are serious numbers. Like, are any of your tiers like a multi-pack, or are they all single books?
It's like my tiers are really affordable. It's mostly.
I was just curious because it's like, for every multi-pack, that's 2 to 3 copies, depending on how big it is that you sold, plus 1 to every single backer, like that just bought one. So, like being able to, let's just say, for example, you moved 800 copies or 750 copies. Like that's a lot of books to be moving as just a person. Like most of CG, where we're just doing this stuff out of our house and trying to work our way into the publishing world. Like people, I don't know if people understand that for years you had to go to cons, and then you had to hope you could get people to come over to your table, and then hope you could convince them into buying a copy. Like if you left a con and sold like 20 copies of a book, it was a big deal. And now you can just go on IGG, and now you've got 700 copies circulating. It's an interesting time to be making comic books for sure, because everyone's got a fair shot. So.
Dude, speaking of conventions, I totally had that's my experience with comics as well, because I started doing conventions when I was 17. So I've been printing books since I was 17, just art books and short comics, and like it's just a struggle. And it was always the only time I made any real money with comics was working for Marvel. But honestly, I think crowdfunding has still paid me better at this point, which is hilarious because this is my first crowdfunding campaign. And it took me like 7 years to break even at conventions, and I was like so happy just to do that. And I would print the bare minimum I thought I needed for my comics, but then I would still have just leftover. It was really sad. Like, now that I'm saying it, it sounds pathetic, and it was pathetic. And it's just such a night and day difference with putting my comics on Indiegogo and promoting it on YouTube and online. I'm like, I don't know if I'm going to go back and do conventions ever again, because what's the point? Like, well, I might do a couple that are especially really good for artists. And, you know, there's a couple I can drive to. Maybe I'll do New York or like Chicago, like alternate doing one of those every year, you know. I like doing Tokyo Comic Con. Like, just it's a reason for before the apocalypse and COVID, I would do that every year, and it's the reason to go to Japan and party for a week. But dude, like, cons aren't really worth it. You spend so much money getting there. You pay for a table, you pay to show up, and you pay for the hotel, and just like I was barely breaking even. And I've been doing this for quite a while. So
yeah, cons. That's the biggest issue with cons is you can be a couple $1,000 in the hole real quick, and there's nothing to really make you feel comfortable going into it. Like, that money is going to get at least replaced. So
yeah.
I did cons for like 17 years, and it got to a point where I was like, you know, these were fun like the first 4 or 5 times I did a convention, but like now I have little to no interest in going to the only time I go to conventions is if it's a toy show, and that's just to buy stuff. Like, I'm not there to work, I'm just there to shop. So
right, interesting. Yeah, I like toy shows too. I should start going to those more. Oh, there's a big toy show in Japan. There's like a cluster of a bunch of conventions towards the end of the year. So like, I wonder if I can just like go and just do like a whole chain of conventions. I don't know. I'm more interested in doing cons in Japan than America at this point. So
for sure. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm also you know, I posted a while ago that I would like to expand overseas, and I don't speak Japanese, but I'm getting my book translated to Japanese, and I'm looking at hopefully a Spanish translation and definitely Mandarin translation. Though I don't know how big that market is. I don't think it's more of like, I don't think the genre fits the Mandarin market, but like, I don't know, I speak Mandarin, so that's something I think indies really can do translations and go overseas, go international. It's not that hard if you publish digitally.
That's the catch. You know, it's within reason now. It just sounds crazy because we're not used to hearing it, but yeah, it's within reason to offer huge portions of the world something that that's in their lingo and their language. You know, because I think that's one of the challenges I had was, I know a few fellows in Japan too, but they're all Americans that either married into a family over there or something of that nature. They're not natives, so none of them know hardly any Japanese either. But the biggest issue I had was they were like, some of this stuff's just you got to find someone that you can trust to translate it in a way that reads normal to them, because you're thinking in a literal mindset, and if we translated it literally, it's going to sound dumb. I was like, that's a fair point.
Right. That's why you can't just use like fucking Google Translate. That's not how translations work. Language is culture. So
Google will get you by if you're lost in a city, but that's about it.
Yeah. It's not bad, but it's, you know, you need a person to translate something like a comic. I was very lucky because I know quite a few people in Japan, and I found someone who has done comic translations before, and also I had him on my show a couple weeks ago, Tatsumi, my manga assistant friend, and he's not doing a translation, but he's going to kind of be my proofreader for it. So it was a fortunate connection I made because I went to Tokyo Comic Con. So conventions are good for making connections sometimes, but more like, I feel like not so much domestically in America. Like, it's because I don't know. I feel like here promoting your work online works better, unless I want to sell toys or something like what, or buy certain toys, and like, why would I go to a convention in America? But overseas, I'd like to try out, you know, do some cons in Europe and stuff. Let's see, for the fans first. Oh, Chimera's back. He dropped out. I would like to go. Depend on how swamped I am and everything. But let's see. Chicago. If you go to Chicago, you'll face unfortunate punishment. That's not an unfortunate punishment. I would be happy to meet you. I'd be happy to meet everybody. Yay! So yeah, the conventions are for meeting people and partying. Like the point of going to conventions wasn't even making money. It's really sad to say, but it wasn't. Like I was just happy to break even, not lose money after doing it for like 7 or 8 years. Like I would go for the after party. Like everybody would just get together in the hotel lobby and drink their minds away, and that was the whole point. So
that explains a lot, because I was at MegaCon at 2 a.m. People were just like fucking partying their asses off.
Yeah, it's just a big party. It was like that one time the nerds come out to party, and and they go crazy. Brian Crisco, what's up? Hi. Hey, if you want to hop on, let me know. I'll send you a link. LM, hello. Hello. Snuggy Jr. So many people today. Hey. Kayas. Yes, Kayas looks great. Sign up for that. Cryptindles. Thank you for dropping links, Eric. Cool. All right. Enough of this. Fiendish. Chapter 1. We're past 700 backers, and you can still get it on Indie, so check it out now. Yay! Okay. So, let's talk about the main subject of discussion today. First of all, this is if you all in the chat haven't seen this comic, you should definitely peruse it. The link is in the description, so let me drop a link right now as well. See.
I already linked it. But...
Okay, cool. Thank you. So I think I saw you introduce this comic last weekend on Chimera's show, and you kind of ran us down over what it's about, and it seemed like it's about, a family and survival, and there's a lot of mythological elements. But why don't you tell us, for the people who haven't, are just brand new to this, what is Death about?
Pretty much what you just said.
Okay. Cool. I pitched the book for you. Yay.
I try to keep it simple when I'm giving a description, so that works. But yeah, it's basically a story about a family unit living in a wild planet, and I mean that in like nature. And there's also other people there that will be causing chaos in their own ways, and it will be basically a war-torn wild planet, a family unit that's caught in the middle of multiple skirmishes and just trying to be strong and survive it. And a lot of the story is, living just to get to the next day. So that's the basic beats you're going to hit through it is hard times, making gray area people into good people, and making some gray area people into very bad and terrible people.
I like that. I like themes like that. Your detail level is fucking-sane, sir. I don't know how you're not cross-eyed every day. Like, dude. And you draw the sound effects in as well. I don't see a lot of people doing that. Yeah.
Oh, that's something like for one, it's like a lost art in American comics to have sound effects, period. But I remember I was looking at some mangas one day, just flipping through them, trying to jog my brain for like just interesting ways to approach sound effects, because they're so good at incorporating like big wild sound effects into the actual artwork where it looks like it's part of the art. So I was like, there's got to be a way to like do this in American comics where it blends in as if it's all intended to be there, even though I'm drawing the sound effects and stuff like that separately and just scanning it, dropping it in with Photoshop. I still wanted to I was like, it needs my style, like the lettering and the sound effects need my touch if they're going to blend right. So, I do take a lot of notes from what Japan does with their comics, and just to have better ideas of how to approach these things, because it's tough. Like, I'll sit there and be making sounds to myself. Like, how do you spell?
Like, right. Yeah, we all do that. Yeah. It's like, should a push or like, or
exactly.
Like, and you're just sitting. It's like when artists do this all the time. You're drawing a funny expression, you end up doing it as well. So you're just sitting there like.
Oh,
Yeah.
and he has a caveman language. So you two.
Oh yeah, we have to talk about that. Yay! You know, Ali Sanguis also made. I was really surprised she made. I don't know if this is spoiler. She made an alphabet. I don't know if it's full language, but for her comic. So I want to do like a panel sometime, just building languages for comics, and I think that would be pretty cool and very nerdy. But I would love to do that because I love this shit.
It would be interesting though. It's a topic I
Yeah.
think more people run into issues on than what we know, because it's just not the dominant thing. You hear everyone being like, "Well, all my heads keep coming out too big on my figures," or it's always something related more to that. And it's like, yeah, we want to know how to make Kaploop look right on a page as a sound, and we need someone to explain it to us.
Right. Yeah, let's see. There's so many subjects I need to talk about. I want to do a coloring panel and then maybe lettering and sound effects, but also like constructed languages. So, oh, Vinny's here. Hey, what's up?
Hey, my
What up,
favorite
Vinny?
sound.
Fauci.
My favorite sound effect is jab, jab, jab.
Yeah.
My favorite book, death, death, death.
At least you endorse death, Mr. Fauci.
Endorsed by Fauci.
I don't know if that would help you or not.
Trust the science. Trust Fauci.
Well, I'll get the liberal sales. Oh, wait a minute.
No, what?
They don't have any money. Oh.
Oh my gosh. Let's see. Finishing Dave's art language. No, that's not fair. He's easy to understand. Res V Graham says, I did it. I use the language for my RPG. From the RPG my comic is based on and provided a add-on perk for a card to decipher it. Ooh, interesting.
Nice.
I would love to. There aren't a lot of people constructing languages for comics. People do it all the time for like TV and film, kind of just because naturally, if it's fantasy, you have to, because the people are actually acting. You have to build a language, and in books, but you don't see it a lot in comics. And I'm like, I love seeing that. Like, why don't people treat comics like the same level with the same level of investment? Fantasy comics, you know. Perth Comics is here. Woo! Perth Comics is awesome. Nice. Yeah. Ryan says, I've always been a fan of script. Yeah, good. Me too. I like that. Yeah. You like my sound effect acting?
That was great.
Thank you, Jude. What I miss? I just rambled on about Fiendish and showed some backer pictures, and now we're introducing Death. So.
Well, even when I was working on, when I'm sitting and working on Death, and I'm trying to think about these sound effects, I'll have times where I'm like, well, how would a dude doing Star Wars comics, like, how would he illustrate the sound of a TIE fighter? Because it's a cool, distinct sound.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But like, there are things like that where I don't know how you translate that in a comic book, like, and you can't give people a soundtrack, so you have to hope you can pace it to their reading. Mm-hmm. And everything else. I don't know. It gets to a point where it's like, should we just be doing animation the whole time?
You could just do something like this and just do the sound effects in constructed languages, so it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
So there you go. That's my solution.
That is a great point, though. You know, it's those very distinct noises. Yeah, how do you do that? Or think of something like Transformers, like the live action movies, for example, too. There's a lot of unique noises and sounds from the transformation, the weapons, that maybe just a couple of them you could probably do like a sound effect that could work in a comic. But but how are you supposed to translate that?
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Sarkticon says, no Fauci ouchies for all.
If you see that
Flip is a good sound. Oh, no. Where people are listing their favorite sound effects in the chat. Yeah, chat, tell us what your favorite sound effect is. You know, I've always like snicked like for Wolverine.
Yeah.
That was very catchy.
It was. A good one. Yeah, that and Thwip for sure.
Yeah. But that was a secret to Marvel's success. I came up with sound effects.
Scotsman, if you say Fauci ouchie 3 times, he'll appear, so watch out.
No!
Oh, shit.
Mick.
He taps you on the shoulder from behind, but it's actually a needle.
He jabs you 3 times.
Oh my god. Okay. But yeah, you've obviously put a lot of thought into this comic, and it's like 300 pages plus, right?
Yeah, yeah, and I put the plus.
Damn.
There's going to be a little variation here and there for like I just need some room to change my mind. So
Right. Oh, I understand.
it will only be more. It won't be less.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I can't wait to get this, man. It is.
Dude.
This is
Wait,
going to be insane.
did you
Look
say
at
more?
this.
Would you make this 400 pages if you decided?
No, I wouldn't go that crazy. Like I basically I tried to give myself the cutoff at 300 on like actual story pages. The more is just to count in like chapter breaks and
Oh,
the gallery section, stuff like that. So give or take, there's like some splash images that I don't really count as I count them in the page count, but I don't count them as story pages.
Okay. How many pages are done so far?
We're about halfway. I'm around like 148 right now in terms of like just line art. I'm not that far on coloring and lettering though. Those are still very much in the baby stages for sure.
Mm-hmm.
But the actual line art, I'm trying to get through the bulk of that, and then once I've got once Indiegogo sent some money over, I'll take out a flatter, and the color pages will start getting blasted through, and then I'll probably do most of the lettering, last, just because it's in terms of assembly lining it's kind of the last thing I have to do.
Yeah.
But we'll see. If I can find some capable people to help with some of these things, it'll get done faster, and I'll be able to divvy out some of the work to other guys. But the sound effects, I'll probably still do all that myself, but I can handle someone doing the basic lettering and letting them do that. I've had Steve Dye do some, so I may just go to Steve and be like, you want to do all the English, and then I'll do all the sound effects and the weird stuff, and we'll handle it that way, just to get these pages done faster.
Yeah, you're doing everything yourself so far, but it does help to have some people supporting and delegating some tasks.
Yeah, well,
I learned that too. I know it's hard, but sometimes it just helps things get done quicker, especially for like flatting and lettering.
I hear you.
Yeah.
But
flatting is the most difficult thing for me, just in terms of like time it takes. Like it's not actually hard to do; it's just coloring in the lines. But like some of my pages, like I'll zoom in and then I'll be like, "Wait, what is that spot?" And I'll zoom back out and be like, "Okay, I see it." And then I'll zoom back in and be like, "Wait, what?" And then I'll zoom back out and then I'll be like, "Oh yeah, that's a leg." And then I'll zoom back in and be like, "Wait, where'd that leg go?" I'm losing it again.
Oh God, I couldn't even imagine flatting a detailed style like this.
Like I'll blast through a whole page on flats, and then literally like one corner of it will get me for like 40 minutes. I'll be like, "This is where I'm losing time, is on this goddamn corner."
Yeah,
But,
I can wait until that 2-page spread of Poseidon is going to be colored. It's going to be great.
I think I'm just gonna drop a dark blue on it and leave it flat. You guys will be like, "Oh, what a jip page!" He just flat and blued it and walked away.
Do you have that page in the updates? Oh, you don't have any updates. You got to post some more page because I've seen you show some of these other pages.
I showed it because he gave me like a 12-page preview.
Oh, okay.
I didn't know if updates were necessary, like 5 days in. So
not like once a month or something.
Okay.
They're not super. Yeah, they're not super necessary, but people do appreciate it. We just want to know what's going on with your campaign. Yeah, is this your first campaign?
It's my first solo one. Yeah, the studio I own's already done too, but we and I've worked on tons of campaigns. So for me personally, yes, it is the first round, but I've been through the ringer with this many times since 2017.
Mm-hmm.
Can confirm Joe Ball is very trusted.
Yep.
He delivers at a great quality. You're gonna love the stuff.
Yeah, looks like it.
I have the advantage of reputation and lots of time in graphic design and comic books already. So it's like 300 pages isn't as crazy to me. It's like that's just a year's worth of work to a monthly artist.
Yeah.
It's not as crazy as it sounds when you put it in context. So
yeah, that makes sense. It's just most books don't tend to go for such a high page count. People tend to, even if it's like, yeah, I can do 300 pages in a year, but I'll break the book up into like at least, under 100 pages per book. But
I've got like 8 or 10 books like this planned, so that's
woo!
the thing. Like, I don't have to break up one because there's still a bunch to come, and I want to get people
change my shorts.
Joe, I have the sign-in page pulled up.
Just sit in the filth, Vinny. Just roll with it.
Joe, do you mind if I show the Poseidon page?
No, go for it, man.
All right.
Scotsman says the key to flattening fast is to fill the whole object with one color, then work inward, cutting it out with interior colors into smaller shapes. Makes you know what is less important.
Yep.
Advice from the master.
That's pretty much how I start all of them. So it's just one flat color on the whole page.
Yeah.
Hey, look, Irene, I drew all the water.
Yeah, there you go.
You did draw the water.
I drew every drip of water in the ocean. It's on that page.
I mean, this is really epic, but it's almost. I think you could just use like a splatter brush or something. I feel bad.
No shortcuts here. Fuck that.
It's not a shortcut. It just works. Okay, it is amazing, but it's okay. All right.
I'm teasing. No, this incredible, man, incredible.
Yeah.
And if I sell the original someday, some guy could have this on his wall someday. If I ever decide to part ways with some of these originals, this is the only brushes I use are ink pens. So there's not a lot of brushing period with anything on these books.
Have you considered finishing up Berserk now that Mira has passed?
I mean, should hire you.
I'll tell you, it's that's like, I don't get too broke up about people that I don't know when they die, but Miura hurt a little bit. I was like, this sucks. Like, this is bothering me. But I got hope that his assistants will at least be able to string together that last chapter as best they can and at least give people some kind of good send off if it's not going to be like finished. So.
Right.
Yeah, the assistants say they basically know how it's supposed to end. So, I like that they're finishing it. I'm sure. To me, there's always going to be a divide between like, this is when Miura was working on it and when it was the assistants. But I was like, like the assistants were there working with him throughout this book. Like they're the best people to finish it.
Yeah.
Unless they hire Joe Ball, of course.
Do you mind if I throw one more panel, Joe? Just one. It's probably my favorite one.
LSVRB, if you zoom in enough, do you see H2O molecules?
You will. It's
just say yes.
Yeah.
Sell it.
Yeah, it's just the caveman creatures. I just wanted to show because you had like a panel where you're showing.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Oh my god, I have so many questions. Okay, like, is your language? How far did you go with building the language?
I started with like the kind of sounds I wanted it to have, like because I wanted them I wanted it to look and sound archaic. So I tried to come up with things that sounded like a mix of like words and clicks and clacks, like, like rolling your tongue at the end of things a little bit. So, I started there, and then I tried to take like what they would literally be saying and tried to just kind of find an impactful way to imply that, even though it's not literally in English initially when they're talking. It will be later. It gets to a point in the story where they're in more of a tech world and you do have the ability to know what they're saying. Mm-hmm. But at least for the first, I'd say about the first half, maybe a little less than the first half, maybe just like the first third, we'll have, you won't see any English out of these characters. They're wild tribal savages. So, everything they do is based on simplicity. They don't cook their food. They rip it apart and eat it. They're not.
With the antlers, is that like a Celtic reference? Like, a horn?
I just thought it would look cool. Honestly, I needed something to make my main bad, like one of the bad guys, stand out there. So I was like, he needs a level of dominance, even though he's not physically as big as some of the other characters. Like, he's still big, but there's bigger savages out there, but he has to have something to make him look like the smart one. Like, there's a reason he's leading and he's in the forefront. So I was like, the antlers look dominant. They make him look cool. And they all have bones and growths protruding from them anyways. And a lot of the creatures of the planet will kind of have that look. Not all of them, but it's basically as if there is a race that comes in all shapes and sizes. And from the extreme to the little. So you can see something that's totally ridiculous, but still has that kind of inside out look.
Right, so like these little dwarf guys, and then a more medium size, and then this big guy right here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, and two, it plays, like, a lot of the stuff, it has a reason to. Like, it plays into what happens with them when they become more mechanized down the road. So, you know, when you're getting to that last quarter of the book, you know, all these size and scale differences add up to having a point. Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, I really like the design of these caveman type race. I think it's very unique. I haven't seen something quite like this before. This kind of like bones on the outside, inverted look. It's really cool, and it gets across the savageness of their culture as well.
Well, I'll tell you, I was playing with it for quite a while, trying to dictate like what a good look for these characters would be, because I had some roughs and some different ideas, but it wasn't quite hitting the mark the way I wanted. And then I had seen, which we've all seen this, but you know how a lot of Japanese toy packages, even to this day, they have those split images where you see like a character's what they look like on the outside, and then what they look like on the inside, especially for mech. You know, it's like, here's all the gears and here's all the parts on the inside of the mech and how it works. And I saw this cool split image, I think maybe even a fan had done, of a robot, but it had like a, you know, like an organic inside. Sort of like Evangelion, but not quite as like lanky and skinny. You know, it was a little more defined. And I was like, you know, I think something like this is kind of what I need. Like, this is what I'm trying to do, but I'm not being quite effective yet. So I played with that idea more, and I eventually got to what you're seeing now. I just would take different shapes, and what I basically took what I knew these guys were going to look like once they were mech, and I catered their original look to that shape. So let's say that, you know, this guy with the antlers has some big, cool mech looking fins on the side of his helmet. You know, that's what would help lead me to coming up with antlers. You know, he's got to fill that space within the mech. So, you know, I kind of worked backwards, you could say.
Right. No, that's a good way to think. Like, work backwards from, because like storytelling, you want to know where your story ends, and then you have to build up to that.
Oh, of course. Do they get like upgrades and stuff too?
Yeah, basically, because I don't feel like this is a big spoiler. They get put into involuntarily, you know, they're forced into what essentially is a defense program, where the current models are piloted by, you know, human-sized people, but it's just like a giant, slow, mechanized machine. So even though it's a big, cool-looking robot, it does not have the speed and the capabilities to keep up with what they need. So the next step is like, well, you know, we've got our planet's filled with these disgusting, giant monsters and savages and creatures. Let's try to start adapting some of them to this, so that we have the speed of something that's already that big and knows how to move at that scale. And it's just a way of trying to be more efficient, essentially. But the catch is, you know, these creatures have no say in the matter. So that's another clash point. What will happen when they're tired of being put in a forced situation that they never asked to participate in the first place. You know, they had enough trouble dealing with the wild. Now they have to deal with the wild and the you know, people repeating the sins of their fathers, essentially.
Right. Is this the situation where the family, like your protagonist and family, is running away from?
Yeah, they're basically on the run from their old tribe. I won't give too much information on what caused that, obviously, but yeah, they're in a position where they're kind of in a constant state of being hunted down. And when you're living a life of constant stress and constantly being on the run and just trying to find peace, just trying to find a place where, where you can raise your kids and be left alone. Like most normal people want in this world. We just want to be left alone. That's an overarching theme too, is so many, at least in our real lives, it's tough to get to a point where it's like, can I just not have bullshit thrown in my face 24 hours a day?
Nope.
Can we just live normal lives? So, and that's even pre-COVID and all that. That's just a running theme I think Americans have in general, is our goal in life is to just live in the country and have the least amount of contact with others as possible.
Hell yeah, sounds good to me.
Yeah.
Just curious, how long did it take you to draw this specific panel, for example?
That panel wasn't too bad because I'd say that was probably like 2 hours. You got to understand, like I've drawn these characters tons of times already. Plus they're just texture. Like they look difficult, but if I broke it down for you and said, okay, draw the male body, now draw a bunch of little pointy bumpy things sticking out of him, give him some big eyeballs. Okay, you just drew my comic book. We're done. Like it's not as difficult as it looks. It's once you know how to texturize things with pens, it's a lot of stuff that you're just doing mindlessly. When
I can definitely confirm they're fun to draw. I drew one of them for one of those drawing competitions.
Yeah. Yep. Then he drew a rad picture for me. It was probably like over a year ago at this point.
Probably, yeah, I think it was. But fun characters. I mean, just the designs are so killer. That's why I said I can't wait for this book. You are crushing it, man. And anyone who hasn't backed it yet, what are you waiting for? Jump on that.
I know. What are you waiting for? Someone has already jumped on it. Blinko's Vengeful Ghost. I can't talk today, guys. It's backer 120 on Death. So thank you, Blinko's Vengeful Ghost.
Yes.
And the rest of you, why aren't you like him? Come on, get on this.
And this will probably be in the pinup gallery, I suppose, Joe. For sure.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Crossover.
Yeah.
I like the colors on your caveman guy specifically in this one.
Yeah, the only thing I worried about was people seeing too much Attack on Titan because of the inside out look and the red on gray. But like I tried so many different variations and I just wasn't liking any of the color options. So I was like, I'm just gonna stick to what my original idea was. If there's a little similarity, it's fine because I like Attack on Titan. So it's not like I'll take offense to it.
It honestly didn't remind me of that at all.
No, I was thinking Berserk immediately with the sword.
Oh, Berserk's obvious, with the sword. Yeah. That's a clear, hey, I love Berserk symbol. Hey guys, have you heard of Berserk? Look at my comic.
Berserk? What's that? Yeah. Berserk? Huh.
We got like the Atlanteans and then the solar battery guy, I think.
Yeah, there's a few characters hidden down there.
Yeah.
I like your character designs. That I wasn't sure what that you had that battery guy on the pinup. That let me pull your campaign up. And where was it?
Near the bottom.
In this, near the bottom, and where you can see. I really like that anime style pinup, by the way. But
a lot of people have. I've had good reactions to it, so I'll probably start using that for side merch here at some point.
I think you should. I think it's a good look. I don't know what it is. It's
just fun. It's bright and it's colorful and it's exciting.
Like, these are the characters assembling the team, and it works really well. But I was like, what is this glowy character? And you said it was a battery. It's like perfect. Okay, of course it's battery. Makes a lot of sense. Yeah, I like good character designs. Good character designs.
They are.
Yeah, let's refresh.
It's a mishmash of everything I've grown up loving, kind of with my own take on it. So it's all influenced, obviously. I think everything we do as artists is influenced. But I think with this, like, if I really picked it apart enough for people, they'd be like, oh yeah, I see where you got, where that kind of derived from. But I still try to be as original as possible, while paying tribute to the things that have made my imagination what it is.
Right. Yeah, that's the way to go. By the way, you just hit 8,000. So congratulations.
That's awesome. Yes. We moved past another financial bump. So just got to keep it moving. Thank you, though. Thank you, whoever backed it. I appreciate it.
Go. I think it's Blinko's Vengeful Ghost. Probably a couple of people, though, because it went up like over $50. So Lord Kraken says it would make a good poster. Yeah, that anime style one would make a really good poster. I don't know what. You murdered that guy? I like that name.
It was the ringing endorsement from Mr. Dr. Fauci. Dr. Death.
I don't know if an endorsement from Fauci would help your book, but hey, I guess take what you can get.
It works with the title. Just play along.
Oh my god!
Fauci's followers would be asking me if I accept cat food as payment. He's like, no, I don't. Sorry.
Pity. But
Yeah.
that's our currency soon. You should just, you should adapt. It's all we'll have.
The corpses of little animals.
It's a medieval society that instead of like trading bushels of wheat, we trade cat food. And we'll be there real soon. It'll be great.
That's so depressing.
Cat food and the limbs and furs of small animals that we experimented on to create more vaccines.
It's like The Walking Dead, but I don't know why they never show like what do people trade? You trade like canned food, and what it's like, I don't know.
Oh, you got to see. I talked about Resident Evil as Dr. Death over on my channel the other day. It's about 10 minutes worth of him comparing the Resident Evil franchise with what he did, and that it's his favorite franchise. Leaked bioweapons from a lab, experiments, mutations, and variants.
It made me jizz.
Oh my god. Okay, I don't want to hear that voice anymore.
If you want a good laugh, you got to check that out over on my channel.
I gotta see that. That sounds hilarious. You guys are funny. Box wine. Chris Kranos is box wine too. All right, let's get to the topic of discussion. Once we've spent some time oogling over this comic, and it's fantastic. What are your influences from real world mythology? Because I saw the angel, and you mentioned some of your influence from other fantasy works like Berserk, but let me scroll down to that angel drawing, which is that giant face over. Like, this is clearly something like this is an angel, right? So what what do you take from real world mythology, and how do you incorporate it into your story?
Well, the bulk of it started with like biblical mythology, so you'll get a lot of tie-ins to things that are like Book of Enoch and Book of Giants, and just a lot of Genesis stuff, and even a lot of King Solomon era stuff, because there's some interesting things in there too. Like you'll see a lot of Lord of the Rings out of King Solomon. It says he had a ring where he could revive the dead and control giants. It's a ring made in fire. So there's all kinds of weird things that other authors have kind of pulled from that realm as well over the years. Mm-hmm. But and like in my head though, like I would look at like Greek and Roman mythologies too, and even foreign lands that have hardly any contact with the outside world at some of their mythologies. And what I found interesting was like biblically, you could take something like you could say, well, look, this country has they worship a god that looks like he's half elephant and half this. And I thought to myself, like, literally in the Bible, and I take the Bible as truth, God made angels and creatures that were half animal looking, or some angels were just a series of shapes with eyeballs all over them. Like it wasn't pretty cherubs and strong muscular angelic men as often as people like to portray it that way.
Oh, biblical angels are horrifying looking.
Yeah.
Well, that's the first thing they say to you is be not afraid. I'm like, what the fuck are you? Your geometrics make no sense.
Well, they're supposed to be intimidating. That's the point, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. And I thought too, like, it's interesting. Like, I think this is just me thinking out loud, but I think there's probably like truth to almost every religion in the sense of who they worship, because there's nothing off bounds to say that what they're worshiping isn't wasn't some angel that manifested itself at some point to them and literally did look that way. So I think there's bits of truth in every religious mythology. If you look at the Bible as truth, and it gave me a lot of influence on the storytelling and what I could do, because I already am predisposed to like that stuff so much. So, there's going to be a lot of deities and supernatural in this book as well, but they're not always going to come in like your European beautiful religious artwork like most people would think. Like I have one angel, he's basically just like an upright buffalo with like a cybernetic arm, and he's got like a mouth on his stomach, like he's horrifying. He slobbers all the time. He's got multiple eyeballs all over his forehead. Like there's just it's just such an interesting realm to be able to play with. So you'll see a lot of gods and deity, not really gods. There's one god in my comic, but you'll see a lot of angelic creatures, good or bad, still using their influence and still doing what they do. It's the Atlantean characters in the book. They're essentially just genetic abominations from pre-flood era, when the angels were screwing around with the genetics of everything here on Earth.
Mm-hmm.
So their dad, their
I've
father,
seen a lot of theories about that.
We're getting to the ancient aliens.
Well, no, not that though. It ties into Babylonian mythology and everything.
Yeah,
so.
ancient aliens are gay compared to this stuff.
But,
that guy with the crazy hair, I bet he prays to a god named Larry.
Larry. I bet he prays to Larry down at the deli while he's eating his bagels.
So would there be? You mentioned Book of Enoch. Would there be watchers? The watchers that were supposed to guard humans but ended up screwing them. Would they be in this?
Somewhat. To me, those are just angels. The watcher is just their title or their job.
Right.
That's the thing. Like there will be moments where I slide things in just to make it clear that they all have jobs to do, but it's not going to be like a huge overarching point of the book. So you will see like a kind of just like how Satan had control of the winds. That was one of his jobs before he became the devil. He was in charge of regulating wind patterns. There's the Book of Enoch references the angels that are in charge of regulating seasons and tidal waves and movement of planets and all that kind of stuff. So it gives you a lot of interesting wiggle room where it's like, if you just break this stuff down, it's less like, oh, it just randomly happens because it's nature. And it's like, no, there's dudes you can't see that are just made out of energy that it's like they work in a factory, except their factory's the universe.
Right.
So
yeah, that's awesome.
There's angels where all they do is sit and press a button all day, just like us.
That sounds terribly unfulfilling.
Like
Snuggie Jr. says, Homer Simpson, right? I have to keep this planet running. What a pain. And these little humans are created so ungrateful. Should blow it up. Don't do that.
Ooh, donut.
Damn, that escalated a little quickly. Snuggie Jr. said the Enoch stuff sold me on backing. Right. The Book of Enoch is very interesting. I wasn't raised in like Judeo-Christian, culture at all. So this is all stuff I learned later. But there is like a lot of really interesting stuff about. I just love like ancient culture, ancient mythology in general. So stuff like the Dead Sea Scrolls are really fascinating. There's so much knowledge that it's like what's real, what's lost. I love hearing about this stuff. It's just theoretically what could be true. I love learning about everyone's culture and how they interpret things. And what you said, maybe there's truth to every religion. It's just different interpretations of the same truth. And I think that's theoretically possible in a certain way, though. I don't like one way of it is looking at it as maybe they encountered angels, but I grew up more with Asian religion. So the way I was saying is people interpreting nature forces in different ways. But maybe that's also just a different way of putting the same idea.
Irene's a goddamned heretic. Get her out of here.
I'm a heretic because I didn't grow up Christian.
Heretic.
Well, it's my show, so you're out of luck.
Blasphemous woman.
With you. No.
Oh my God! Damn, that's a little harsh.
No, I'm joking.
Literally anywhere.
They're coming here. They're coming here.
Yeah, I was raised Buddhist actually.
Oh, that's cool.
Taiwan's like a mix of a lot of Buddhists, but most people follow folk religion, so it's with like religious mix in Asia. It's not as like separated. People don't fight about it like in the West. So like how in Japan Shinto is mixed with Buddhism and their own version of Buddhism. So that's what I grew up with.
It's because the Buddhists aren't dressing up like Satan demon trannies with their dongs hanging out at a kid's book reading at a library. There's a little less to fight about.
Well, no, I was talking about between religions.
That's a horrifying visual.
Oh my gosh.
You're talking about what our politicians pray to and all that. No, that is so cool though. Buddhism is something really interesting, I think, and it's helped a lot of people with peace of mind as well. One of my favorite soccer players, he changed his religion from being Catholic. He went to Buddhism for peace of mind, for all that kind of stuff, because like the one dude, he couldn't have operations. He was allergic to a lot of the medicines and stuff. So he was always in tremendous pain, but being able to pray like that really helped him. So like, I'm with Joe Ball where I think a little bit of every kind of, or most religions have a similar thing to it, or there is something better, I think, or some kind of connection that get you in the right place.
Yeah, it's whatever works, right? It's whatever helps you like be a better person, find a goal in life.
Oh, you'll start to notice like literal similarities after a while too. Like basically, short of Jesus, like everyone that started a religion had their epiphany after like fasting in a cave for like 3 days or something. Like there's always a cave. There's always these certain tie-ins that are there, and everyone having flood stories with a character whose name literally sounds like Noah. It's just interesting. You can tell that there's more background to all these religions, no matter what a person believes is the right one, that show us that there is some similar links there to them. There's got to be some beginning point that they all kind of got started from.
This is going to lead back to Larry. I knew it.
Larry. Well, the flood stuff is really interesting because we now know that around the same time where in ancient prehistory people were saying the flood happened, there actually was a glacial melting event. The flood actually happened. So it's all this stuff with people denying that. I think people a lot of people are turned off by religion because there are obviously evil people who have used organized religion for their own means, but there's like that's not the origin, I think, of any religion. It's most of
the people that hate religion for that are fine with their political religion being used for evil means. Well, they don't realize they're still susceptible to it, no matter if it's coming from a guy with a cross on or a guy with an American flag button on his lapel. They're most of the people that think they're too smart for this stuff are just about as stupid as everyone else. So I don't know where they get their preconceived notions, but
you're right.
Well, there are people who treat their politics like their religion now, but it's a human universal in every single culture. It's something that people need. I forget so there a list of every single settlement, every single culture has these things, and religion is one of them. It's essential to humans functioning, and it's just because we're intelligent. We have to find a way to, and we're aware of our mortality, and we observe the world and we try to make sense of it. So it's something that we need, and I think it's a little silly to pretend that we don't need it. I think people should be free to believe whatever they want. People shouldn't war with each other over it, but it is something essential, and you shouldn't trash on people just for being religious and say, oh, you just believe in hocus pocus, because like there's something that you treat as religion, you're just not aware of it. We need something to ground us and guide us in life. It's how humans operate.
But then
I'm sorry. Here's a little bit of God's humor, if we want to look at it this way. In the how we've been told that fossil fuels are created from like compressed organic matter over millions of years, turning to fossil fuels, et cetera, et cetera. Well, the thing that creates oil is usually it comes from extreme water pressure at some point on those things. So you have extreme water pressure on possibly these sinners that God was fed up with on planet Earth pre-flood, and now those people are being burned alive in our cars so that we can drive around. That's some humor right there. God's like, I'm going to compress you for a while under a bunch of water, and then I'm going to let the future stick you in a gas tank and
Oh
burn your
boy,
last remains.
that's
Hey,
dark.
Look, I need to get to McDonald's somehow. If I have to burn them, so be it.
Hey,
Well,
God drowned them. I don't think you burning them is going to make it any worse. So,
Just curious, are you going to have enough film giants in here? Because, you know, there's characters like Heracles or Odin that might be descendants of Nephilims. Are you going to do stuff like that?
not in a huge way. They'll get a reference point, but that's more like a what's going on Earth kind of thing, and this doesn't take place on Earth.
Oh,
So this leaves Earth in the first like 10 pages. It's just there for context to show you an origin point, but none of it really takes place on Earth. The main reason I will have some references to it is because when the apocalypse happens, I'm going to have it happening everywhere. It's like a universal thing. It's not just an Earth thing. There will be references to what's going on elsewhere during that phase.
And I just wanted to pick your brain. What did you think about the giants in the Book of Enoch? Did you think they were like 20 feet tall or just like 7 to 8 feet tall?
It varies. I think it got to pretty extreme heights. There were some that I wouldn't be surprised, at least by the tales told, if they reached the 80-foot point. But I can't imagine anything too much bigger than that. But at the same time, the whole thing's a wild concept, so you could literally imagine anything with it. But I think that the giants, it's tough to say because there were a lot of them, and they did spread out and dominate a lot of places. So like basically like when David is on his war drum period, when God first makes him the captain of the armies and they go on the slaughter fest across all the cities and start clearing them out, you'll notice that any city that ends in I'm trying to think of the words now. I'm losing track. There's names giants have basically, and the cities all have that same kind of like Kal-El was a Jewish name, so there's a lot of like ancient Jewish words that end in El. A lot of giant cities had that same effect where you knew it was a giant city biblically, even though it didn't say this place is run by giants, because of the name of the city always ended with a giant's name. Right. So that's why there are some cities where God said you got to kill everyone because they were all corrupted. They're all genetically not something God created. So it was every man, woman, and child. And then there were others where he said just clear out the men. So it was just giants, but there were still some genetically normal people there. But yeah, it's hard to say in terms of size and scale. Some of them read as if they're just incredibly huge, and then some read as if they were, maybe in the realm of like 15 foot, 8 foot, that kind of realm. So
yeah, we had talked about that over on my channel a couple days ago, where they actually found outside of Palermo a skeleton that was 30 feet tall intact. Yeah. And it's something that, again, they don't like to talk about. And then there was another one in, I believe, France that was like 22 feet in height. But yeah, I'll
tell you what's interesting is biblically, David, I forget the exact scripture and verse. I'd have to go check again because it may have been in Book Enoch. But either way, there's reference to David, giants trying to flee when he was on his genocide spree. Mm-hmm. And it said that a lot of the red-haired, white-skinned ones fled to a valley. And sure enough, all the Native American lore in the Ohio and Kentucky Valley is about red-haired, white-skinned giants that were nothing but trouble. They were cannibalistic. They had extra fingers and toes. And then sure enough, farmers all throughout the 18 and 1900s kept finding giant-ass skeletons.
I've heard
Ohio,
of that too.
Indiana, and Kentucky, so.
Isn't that weird? Oh, and there's the South American. I've heard it was this Aztec legend of they had a hero. The name escapes me. Aztec names are hard to remember, but it was also an ancient hero that it was prophesied to return, and it was like a kind of light-skinned hero. And when the Europeans came, they thought this was their hero returning. It's like a legendary king or something. There's a lot of this kind of stuff all around the world. Alan said, "Is it Sunday?" Because it's just starting to sound like church. It's just we're just talking about mythology. I don't think
There's
Right,
giants.
yeah, we're just talking
Yeah.
about mythology and giants. I think this stuff is really interesting. I've
This
been
is
really
pretty
into.
cool.
I've been really into. It's been a couple times. It's a nice vibe. I've been really into like this theory of you know where Atlantis might have been, and I'm not even saying did it really exist, did it not exist, but it's the theoretical thought of it and exploration. I think people should be open to at least exploring it. And
Yeah.
have you guys heard of the Richat structure in Africa?
No.
I'm
Yeah,
not familiar with that one.
Yeah, it's a natural formation that is kind of, it's like a volcanic kind of formation that looks, it's called the Eye of Africa or the Eye of the Sahara, and it's like 24 miles across, but it's just this giant concentric formation in the middle of the desert. Absolutely nobody lives around it, and the dimensions of it match up to the description of Atlantis, and there's like mountains to the north and everything. And it's, people say that if it was filled with water, it would match perfectly. So like the only thing is, well, I don't think the map of when the water level was higher matches up exactly because it's a bit farther inland, but that's also really interesting. And I think we should be open-minded about ancient history and the fact that there was more to, it's not like, I think it's a little ridiculous that humans have been around for billions of years, and well, civilization only started 5,000 or 7,000 years ago. Well, we're going back to, we were talking about the Great Flood. We know that now that this is real, it's scientifically proven, and it might have been caused by a meteorite. They found a crater in the Greenland ice sheet a while ago, and it, like, the age lines up, everything is 11,000 to 12,000 years ago is the time frame, and that's kind of why we have a hard time finding any traces of civilization before that. And where do civilizations build most of their large cities? On the shore. So if there was a great flood, where are all the traces of these ancient civilizations? Probably underwater. And underwater archaeology is very hard, and we all know that our own oceans are less explored than the freaking moon. So people should be more open-minded about this, because like, if there's truth to this, if this really happened, I want to know. We shouldn't make fun of this.
Ancient cities shouldn't even be a brain teaser for most people, though. Like, we know that we're going to find old cities and stuff. Like, there's some things where it's like, okay, I get being skeptical about angels and demons. Fair enough. But being skeptical about a city just doesn't seem worthwhile.
Right.
Like,
why are people so averse to the fact that humans had mega cities before 11,000 years ago? Like, that's so insulting. Like, oh, only humans just suddenly jumped in intelligence and built civilization starting from what we know as a Stone Age, but humans have been around for much longer than that.
Even giant floods are not unusual. We see giant floods every year all over the place. And
it
we
might
see
be
what
a
it
cycle.
does. It's not, some of these things are just not as far-fetched as some people want it to sound. It's like, no, the whole earth flooding is really not as surprising as you would think. We've got water above us, we've got water below us, we've got water in the ground, we've got frozen water everywhere. Like, it's just, if that's the part that someone says, nope, the idea of a lot of water is a deal breaker, I'm like, I hate to tell you where you live, but it's on a planet covered in 70% water. But all right.
Exactly. But
living in.
Well, I was going to say what you were saying earlier, Irene. You could test the rocks. You could, they've shown it all over the world that the sea levels were all different. Something happened. You can't deny it.
No, there was a flood. If you Graham Hancock is one of the, and he's a writer, and people riff on him because he's also into stuff like drugs and I think DMT, so that harms his credibility a bit. But
no, DMT is how you meet angels. You just smoke that and get really high.
Maybe. Yeah, when he gets into like the DMT talk, that harms his credibility to the regular person. But he has done a lot of traveling and research to put together, like, there's a sunken city off the coast of India, Dwarka, and also he's been with the consultants of actual geologists, been researching like the scablands in Oregon and in the Pacific Northwest, where there are these like giant gouges in the earth, and it's basically scientists have thought that it was from glaciers, but some geologists now think it was from a flood. It happened in an instant. It wasn't just from glaciers slowly cutting things away. So it's very interesting. Keep an open mind is what I'm saying.
Yeah, volcanic activity plays a lot into the stuff too. Like there's been volcanoes that have went off that have completely like resettled the entire lay of the land. And if we go by today's like scientific standard, we'd say, why that layer's 10 bazillion years old. And it's like, no, a volcano just laid that down like 2 weeks ago. You guys have got to come up with better ways to figure this stuff out. But
I probably should have asked earlier, what's the name of the planet? Because we're not on Earth.
It's unnamed. It's just a planet. It's basically biblically. There's a scripture where it references Leviathan and Behemoth being too big and too consuming for Earth, and God didn't know what to do with them, so it just says He moved them. It doesn't say where, how. It doesn't say He killed them. So in my head, I like the idea of He moved them to this other Earth-like planet where they could kind of roam free and just do their thing. And that's where this takes place. It's a planet for all the things that are too big and were too consuming for Earth, whether it be dinosaur-esque creatures or just oversized versions of things we see on Earth.
Gotcha.
That's cool.
Very cool. Very cool. Damn. So you're like heavy into the world building too. I like that.
I am. It comes in chunks though. Like I think for some people, like they get obsessed with the world building aspect, where my world building comes from necessity. It's like, how do I make this make sense but not be generic and silly? Because that's the biggest catch with a lot of filler is it's there just to fill the gaps, hence filler, but it doesn't always mean it's good, or it's a decent enough explanation for why the circumstances of the story happen the way they did. So I try really hard to think about all that stuff, which leads to a lot of world building by default.
Right. That I think that's the way that makes a lot more sense. And people know that I'm big on world building. I did a lot of world building for my comic. But again, you can build the world first and try to extrapolate a story from that. But really, the best way to do it is if you build the world around your story, because the story comes first. And if you're building something for like a game or tabletop game, that's different, because you're building a world that just has a lot of cool shit in it, and you're letting players explore it and tell their own stories. But if you're the storyteller, you have the goal to tell your story. Well, you want to build the world around it to best support the tale of your characters, like best support their journey.
That's a very good way of putting it. Yeah, because that's what I did. I had my key events that I knew I wanted to happen, and then I built everything around those events to make sense, rather than, I got this idea for this Inside Out monster. It's like, yeah, but what's he gonna do? So have the events first, then I did design the Inside Out monster and where he lives.
Right.
I know I asked this before, but when did you start reading Berserk, Joe?
I had stumbled across bits and pieces of it in the late 90s, but I didn't really give it a full read through till probably like 2014, 15. I really started to read it. So it had already been around for quite a while. Like I had watched like the 97 animation of it, and that was really, it was cool in its time. I think when you don't have the comic book, the 97 animated looks awesome. But then once you get the comic book, it's like, God, all these animations are trash. But I love Berserk.
Roast vegan, that's a little depressing, but I'm having a hard time rejecting that at this point. But we will be the last spark of light and hope, because we're here to make great comics, and that's culture. And that's important. We're here to make something awesome and fun and beautiful, no matter how dark the world is.
Right.
Yeah.
If this came out in the 90s, you'd probably be a millionaire, Joe.
Dude.
Absolutely.
The 90s was the peak, like, for both American comics and manga and anime. Like, I don't know, it's just me being like, oh, my childhood, but I don't think so, because I had a terrible time as a child. I really did. I never want to go back, but 90s were the shit, yo. It was nice. We could say what the fuck we wanted. Art was great. Anime was flourishing. Comics was flourishing.
Yeah.
It's just, and we had like this short 10 years, and then fuck, shit hit the fan.
Well, they felt his shit, but the good thing is that we still got influenced by all that great stuff, and that's why we're building so many amazing new IPs and projects all around. So yeah, fuck Fauci, back these books right now.
Thank you, Alex.
Dylan was asking how many books there's going to be. You said 8.
Somewhere between 8 and 10. I haven't 100% dictated. I'll have to plot out the next books a little clearer to be sure of that. But yeah, I'd say 8's a fair number.
Hex, some talk about South America. Yvonne said there are some South American civilizations that just vanished from the earth, maybe taking mind resource migration or pathogens. Yeah, South America is very interesting. A lot of fascinating ancient civilizations that, again, have been wiped out and lost to time, and I wish it wasn't, because there's so much to learn. And like, look at the Olmecs and a lot of artifacts from South America. Let's see, Scotsman mentioned something about, look, you should Google the similarity of Ecuador and Egypt. Symbology is identical. There's some weirdly, and I understand with culture there is such a thing as coincidence. Like I saw some people going on a while ago about how like the Hebrew script and Japanese script had like the same character, same sound, so it's related. It's like, no, it's not related. It really is just a coincidence. Coincidences happen. But that being said, there are a lot of kind of creepily similar things between like South American pyramids and like the mythologies there, and some other parts of the world and Egyptian mythology, and it's interesting to look into.
They like to hide things, because I was really into the Egyptian stuff for a long time, and there was, I don't know if you guys remember Dr. Hawass. He had like the Indiana Jones hat, all white hair.
I know him.
Yeah, he had a lot of specials and stuff too, and then all of a sudden he found something, or a pathway he believes, into underneath the Sphinx's paw, and he found a crazy tomb that was like a sarcophagus that was they had it floating in the air over water. There was like water underneath connecting these temples and stuff, and they were on the last day that they were allowed to dig. And he believes, because he landed down there and he found there was a pathway, one that went to the Great Pyramids, one that went to the paw. And he believes there was something there. And then you never heard any more of his specials. In fact, they even tried to prosecute him in 2018, saying that he stole artifacts. Like, they tried to bury the man and hurt his reputation because he found stuff and he wanted to tell the world.
Huh, that's interesting. I hear mixed things about Hawass. I think that makes a lot more sense, that he uncovered something and was kind of like threatened into staying quiet, you know. Yeah, he's a very, I don't know what he's the head of, but he's a very important figure in Egyptian archaeology.
Yeah.
Let's see, Fingerprints of the Gods, yes, that's by Graham Hancock, worth a read, definitely. That's, there's, the Sphinx is also, quite fascinating, because there was it Robert Schoch or some other people who delve into like ancient civilizations and have researched this stuff, and this is something that has been backed up by several geologists. The watermarks on, well, not the watermarks, spoiler, the erosion marks on the side of the Sphinx temple, it doesn't look like sand. Like, right. When geologists are shown it without any context, and they're not told that this is on the side of the Sphinx temple, which is enclosed around the Sphinx, they're like, oh, that's water erosion. Well, how could it be water erosion if it was only built like 5,000 years ago, or however long, or 2,000 years ago, or however long they said it? I mean, look at the erosion. Honestly, if you just look objectively, compare the rock erosion between the pyramids and the Sphinx. Sphinx is obviously a lot older, and that seems like it makes a lot of sense. And you see how the Sphinx head is like really weirdly small in relation to the body. They think it was recarved, so they think it was from a former civilization that is like way before dynastic Egypt, that's been lost to time. And it was probably because of the water erosion, it was probably first built when the Sahara was a forest, and that was like 11,000 years ago.
Yeah, they also
weird, right?
Yeah, they said he was like overlooking an area that was like that it had rivers and stuff. And over time, there's a lot of different things that happened. But
the Sahara used to be green.
yeah.
Why do you think there's just like a civilization in the middle of the desert? It didn't always be like that.
Yeah, see, it's wait,
truthers. Or truthers. I do just want the truth, and it's like people are like, "Oh, you're a conspiracy theorist." It's like, well, I want proof. I want scientific proof, but I think people should be open-minded. Like, how are you going to find a truth if you're not open-minded?
These are the same people, that take mystery potion jabs. So.
No. There you go. Well, you trust Big Daddy. Okay, do what you're told. That's how the rebels are today. Do what you're told. Scotsman.
Triple bag yourself.
We grew it on a monkey carcass. Shoot it into your veins.
I heard that Rage Against the Machine band was like pro-vaccinations, and I was just thinking about the irony of that.
Well, they're about as fraudulent as it comes. These are the super commies of rock music, and everything they do is pure capitalism. So, if anyone has any faith in those dudes being legit at this point, they're just silly.
Just the name, Rage Against the Machine.
Yeah, Rage Against the Machine, man.
Well, weren't there memes around a Rage with the Machine? Because they're basically towing the establishment line. Like, I don't think vaccines are a bad thing. I have most of my vaccines. It's the weird way that they're pushing this one that annoys me. Vaccines do work. But I don't know why they're like threatening people with like threat of, your social credit score will go down if you don't get this one. Like, dude.
If you heard Trudeau speak, something's up. You could feel that. You could smell the agenda behind this, Plus, the woman who came out, the doctor from Wuhan, who said it in January of last year, that it came from the lab, that it's man-made, and that it's a bioweapon. She said it multiple times. And
okay, we're gonna get. Hold on, my channel. Hold on. Let's not get too much into this.
No. But
after the show,
the only thing I was gonna say is she got vindicated from the Pentagon and the FBI.
Isn't that sad that we have to watch what the fuck we say? Free speech. Yeah, sure. Free fucking country. Yeah. Right. Well, that's what I'm talking about. The more it might be completely up and up, and it might be it's just a vaccine that's made a new way. But like the fact that they're censoring people and threatening people. Actually, I wouldn't even say that because there are medicines that It's, again, I'm not going to get too into it, but it's authoritarianism bad. Scotsman TV says the reason the 80s to 90s was the best for entertainment is because people couldn't splatter their opinions all over social media and get people canceled. You're right. Fuck social media. Nuke it from orbit. Nuke Twitter from orbit. It's ruined society.
Well, it's interesting because, like, I remember too, like, once the internet age kicked in and people had access to a lot more information, and every once in a blue moon, like, I'd have a friend or something that would come across some article or something written by a super lib. And it would be something ridiculous, like all men are oppressors, and everything's based on race or this and that. And this was in the early 2000s, and we just rolled our eyes and laughed at it. Like no one talked about it to the point where it was like it got ran into the ground. And
no, these people aren't liberals; they're crazy.
Yeah, it's like we're at this point now where instead of like just mocking it personally and moving on with life and never letting it get ground, people have to make an issue out of it on social media for a month straight. And it's like, nobody would have listened to this wacko from this, East Coast school if in the early 2000s or the late 90s, because we would have just saw the headline and immediately rolled our eyes and moved on with life.
Well, everybody thinks they're the most important thing in the world because that's how the whole generation was raised. You're the most important thing and do everything. Oh, you get participation trophies, and this is what you get when these people grow up. They can't deal with the real world.
Yeah, they live off of social media. They live off their phones, and they all want attention for anything, And that is the society that, is, again, the sheep that bend over for all this stuff, and they do what they're told.
Just
well, as long as they back death, they can write as many stupid articles as they like.
We're talking about these are our opinions, but We welcome all customers. Let's just be very clear. I certainly do.
Of course.
And I like having discussions about things, you know. And what's annoying is a lot of people don't like having respectful discussions, because I like it when people don't agree with me. But I don't like, what is up with this? If you disagree with someone, you have to just ruin their lives and call them the worst names. Like, no, let's just have a respectful discussion.
Exactly.
And that's what it should be. But that's what's important more than everything we're saying here. These are our opinions, and we don't agree on everything. But what's important is we've lost the ability to have civil discourse.
Yeah.
And
Vinny,
that's what we're going to try to bring that back.
Vinny, do you hear Irene? She sounds like a goddamn Nazi.
Yeah.
Unbelievable.
Right, the Jewish and Asian girl.
Yeah.
Right.
Irene, you're wrong. We all agree that is awesome. So
it is awesome.
That's
right. We agree on that, so we agree on everything.
We just became best friends again. Look at that.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can only be friends with people that you agree. You can only be friends who also like death. So back the book today.
Now I can get behind that.
Be a friend. Back death.
Yes, back death friend. Birdie Patty. I'm just generally disagreeable. Well, no.
Joe, you mentioned a while back to me, you said you were going to do animation with Death. Are you still going to do that someday?
In a perfect world, yeah. We'll get there when we get there. I was talking to the dudes over at Black Rose about it, because they have a little experience in that field as well too, and are a little more knowledgeable about it than I am. So I know a lot of stuff, but I don't know it in practice. I just know it from reading it or hearing someone else talk about it. So I don't have like the experience levels to back it up. But at some point, I wish this could have just been animated, honestly, because there's a lot of things I want in this comic that I cannot do because it will just clutter a page. Like when we're talking sound effects, I want to know how to make the trees, leaves sound like they're ruffling in the wind. I want the sounds of bugs in the air. You know, like there's a lot of little subtle things I want to have. I want intense music to match what's happening in story. But, you can't do all that in a comic book, so you've got to just choose your battles with it and try to be as impactful with this medium as possible. Yeah, and then, hopefully it'll get people pumped for an animation.
Yeah, this would make a great OVA if you just have self-contained OVAs or something.
I could see this in like 90s style animation. That would be so great. Man, we should bring back that type of animation. We should just bring back to 90s. Let's just go back.
All right. I'm going to go get my DeLorean.
When you do, hit me up. Don't leave me out.
We'll make some room back there.
Oh my gosh! You can throw me in the trunk. I don't care. I want to go back.
Whoa! That's where we have Mr. Fusion.
Oh my gosh!
And then he's like, "Sweet! I've always wanted to throw a chick in a trunk, but I was told that was illegal." Finally,
listen, we've thrown a lot of people in trunks, but for other reasons.
As long as I can keep on drawing my comics, I don't care.
Give me a little flashlight back there.
Right, I just want to draw. That's all I ask for. Let's see. Did you get any more?
You'll be co-pilot. Don't worry.
Oh, co-pilot. Cool. We should play the trailer. Let me play the trailer for this.
Yeah, go for it. It's just a barrage on the senses, but that's kind of a theme of the book as well. So.
Oh, cool. Okay. So you were doing that on purpose? You wanted the visual style to be kind of like overwhelming?
Well, yeah. I wanted it to be part of the entertainment value. I know everyone's like, this is how you tell people about your book. I'm like, no, it's a video. Entertain them. They'll figure out what the book's about in the summary below.
Right.
Just let the video be fun. It's part of the fun. Where you guys are having fun by talking through your videos.
Well, as long as the video piques the viewer's interest, that's what's important. Some people insist that the video has to tell you how many pages are there and what's the story about. That works for some campaigns, but dude, I didn't do that. I just like, here's a narration from the main character's point of view. Yeah, it's whatever works, whatever sells your book. That's what's important.
That makes sense, though. That works. That's part of the entertainment value of the book. Right. Yeah. It's about immersion. Whatever sells your book, whatever makes people interested. Okay, let me share my screen and share audio. Entertain us!
All right. Go away, cookies. I hate cookies. Cookies are terrible. Okay.
They're no good for your health.
Oof. Epilepsy warning?
Nah.
He said it's an attack on the senses.
Yeah, you're supposed to have a seizure.
Buy my book, it'll give you a seizure.
It's one of the stretch goals.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
It's better than a booster.
You know how you had the little kind of animated sections? That was pretty cool. How like the head turn was animated and everything.
I had a lot more of them, but I couldn't find them, so I just had to get something done. But yeah, I had a handful of animation kind of set up from a few years ago when I really wanted to do this as animated. But yeah, the files are on another computer somewhere, and I just got tired of trying to rig and unhook and hook stuff up to find it. So I was like, I'm just going to make a video and get this done.
Yeah.
Hi, Jason.
Was it Liquid Television, MTV?
Yeah, Liquid Television was sweet.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I was actually telling somebody not too long ago about The Head, the show that ran with the Max. Mm-hmm. And I was like, it sounds ridiculous, but it was actually a pretty interesting premise. Like this dude has an alien that came down and decided to live inside of his head. Now he has this giant skull, and whenever the alien gets mad because people are picking on him, it rips out of his skull and kills everybody. Like, it was such a weird cartoon, but in its time it was really interesting. It was like, what is this crazy shit people are doing these days?
Yeah, I'm looking at some of the art. There's a lot of Transformers. I know you're a huge fan of Transformers. How did you get into that?
I was born in the 80s.
There you go.
That's all you need to know.
I was born in 82, and now I love Transformers. Now they're one of the coolest toys ever created, and they took, I mean, at least early on, they eventually got a little convoluted, but I can live with it as long as it's G1 era. Mm-hmm. But yeah, the design factor. I think there's something to the fact that a lot of Japanese guys back in the 80s and 90s went right into engineering school, and instead of designing jets, they made toys, and it's represented. Like, you can just tell that those toys come from the mind of a guy that wants to make something interesting that also works and has a little touch of art factor to it. So yeah, Transformers are just one of those things I've loved ever since I was a kid, and I've never reached like a weird point where you look at it and see it just for what it is. Like, I've never stood back and been like, these are just miniature toys. Like, what am I doing with a bunch of Hummels that look like robots? Like, I've never had a moment where I was like, it felt that way about it, where I was getting a little too old for it. But yeah, Transformers are one of the most genius toys ever created. And I look at the toys as a source material too. Like, when people are like, oh yeah, remember in that episode of Transformers when? I'm like, just stop. Don't even bring that up with me. I don't want to talk about the shows. I don't want to talk about the movies. None of them are good. They're all, it's almost all made, like the show, I get it was made for kids, so it's going to be a little more simple-minded, but most of it is just not that good. It's silly and it's dumb, and the toys are the source material. They were genius. They were smart. They were the polar opposite of a lot of what they were used for.
Right.
But,
that's kind of how I feel about Ninja Turtles, because my brother and I grew up watching the 87 animated series. I read the Mirage comics when I was a teenager, and I tried watching the show again later in life, and I'm like, this is fucking garbage.
Yeah, it's just how it is. But at the same time, like, I love that era of Turtles. I love the silly cartoony Turtles, but mostly, once again, for the toys. Like, I'm a toy guy. I collect toys, so like, I'm almost always going to like the toy version of something, and then the continuity that I invented in my own head more than I'll ever like the existing in almost all cases. So because a lot of Death is me being like, I hate what they did with Transformers. This is what it could have been. I hate what they did with this IP or that IP. This is what it could have been if it would
because
have
you
just been
create your
treated
own
with some
idea.
respect.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
Shia LaBeouf will not be in this book. Okay.
Are you sure? I don't even see any humans in this book. Apex Comics asks, did you create the video yourself? And also he asked another comment, what program did you use, if you did?
Yeah, I did the video myself. Actually, I was so tired of trying to get like reused to dealing with like legit editing programs because it was just too overwhelming. So I went and found someone that had like a Windows 8 movie maker, kind of like an emulator, something like that, and downloaded it and just used that because I was like, this is something that's so easy to edit on. You can blast right through things. It's very simple. It's very bare bones. And yeah, I used that. And I recorded all the music too. I've been playing guitar since I was like 14. So I've got backlogs of like death metal music and stuff like that for the last 15 years. I can kind of juice from for music where I don't got to worry about copyright issues and things like that.
Oh, that's nice. Yeah, that's I can't do music for shit, and sometimes I wish I could. So it's like copyright free music.
I know.
It's really hard to find.
You snap your fingers the wrong way, and then we're gonna get flagged.
Dude, I know. Apparently, I heard someone got flagged for like singing a song. Like, what the fuck? To get real, YouTube.
Yeah, the Happy Birthday song as well.
Yeah, there's people getting flagged for singing their own songs.
Ah! It was oh, this is funny. Shelby got flagged for I might be misremembering this, but I think he got flagged for a Foo Fighters song, which is extra hilarious. Yeah. Shelby looks just like Dave Grohl.
Yeah, I
was like, did they think they were just playing the music video or something? Because he looks exactly like Dave Grohl. Man.
Yeah. I said Dave Grohl's got a vendetta against you now because you're stealing his hype on YouTube, and he's flagging down your videos just because there's a slightly similar look there.
Yep. Mark Sega, welcome back. No worries. Adulting errands are important. Let's see. Bite number 0. Oh, I haven't heard about this. She'll check it out though. Yeah, Shelby got flagged for looking like Dave Grohl.
Yeah.
Your face is not allowed on. Jesus Christ, YouTube, come on, please.
Hey, gang, I gotta go get my kids put to bed and all that good stuff, so I'm gonna hop off here.
Oh, okay.
But, thank you for having me. I appreciate it. Thank you to the backers and to the chat for helping push this book.
Yeah.
And
let's refresh one more time. See if we got any. Oh, come on, everyone! You know you want this book. Come on. I'm sure they're just making up their minds. So.
They got to think on it a little bit and be like, are my eyes ready? Is my brain going to be able to handle getting fucked? So
that's right. But you want your eyes to be fucked. That's right. That's why you should buy this book. I'm a terrible salesperson.
Quote of the night. No, I beg to differ.
Oh my gosh. Okay. But anyways, thank you for coming on, Joe, and sharing your awesome project. Where can people find you?
You can find me on Twitter at Comic Art Master 1, or just search King Toad Incorporated Joe Ball. Either one will get you there. And I'm on Instagram as the 1776er, or just look up my name, John Joseph Ball, and you can find me over on Instagram too, where I post basically the same stuff I post on Twitter. It's not a dramatic difference. That's pretty much it.
All right, awesome. Well, thank you for coming on again, and hope to talk to you again soon.
Yeah, same to you. Y'all have a good night, and take it easy, everybody.
Good night, buddy. Bye.
Later.
Yeah, this project looks super awesome, dude.
Yeah, it does.
So much detail. I don't know. I've always liked detail. I was like told to tone it back, but now Joe's like embracing it. So this is it's inspiring. I should go back to my detail roots.
Well, that's the beauty of doing what we're doing. We can do whatever we want. So.
Right. You do whatever, you draw whatever you want. You control your own projects, and that is the beauty of what we're doing. You're right. Replicant. Hi. I guess let's go through everyone else's campaigns. And let me pull up Shadow of the Kraken. Let's see. Let me do Bit of a shorter show today because I have to get back to work as well. I should be meeting with my colorist. That would
Now let's
be.
go 4 hours.
Yeah, where the hell is he?
Oh, he's busy with stuff. Well, he's got work and also he's. Oh, we have our Pathfinder stream this weekend, guys.
That's
so
right.
He's prepping for that. Actually, I think
Oh,
I don't know,
nice.
but yeah. This Sunday at 1 p.m. EST, and we'll be doing our proper Pathfinder module. So be there. Be square.
Or be square.
Yeah. It'll be fun. It'll be fun. I don't even know what module we're playing. Nick's gonna be the GM, but I'm sure it's gonna be well. We've got half orc Alex Jones. We have a mushroom man, a little mushroom man who thinks he's like a prince, but he actually is from a garbage pile. That's Chris's character. I have a druid who's a druggie and grows his own drugs in his beard. And AC's character is it's a dwarf cleric. It's a female dwarf cleric who has a beard because our dwarf women have beards. So it's gonna be great. It's gonna be nuts. Be there. You don't want to miss this.
My half orc is probably gonna take Chris's character and put him like as a topping on a pizza.
Oh my God, no, don't! No!
I don't know. I never played this, so we're gonna find out what we can do, and if we can have a lot of fun, we'll have.
We're gonna try to collaborate as a team. Oh my God.
Okay.
Yes, it's not about killing other player characters, Vinny.
All right, we'll take someone from his tribe or his race, and we'll put him on the pizza. No,
stop Vinny from killing us. It's not. We're supposed to be a team fighting an enemy or going through a dungeon. We're now PvPing.
Right, yes.
Yeah.
No, you're right.
That escalated quickly. I mean,
no, I'm a team player. Don't worry, it'll be good.
Cool. Well, I mean, we are open to PvP, but we try to. It's our first. It's like our baby module. Let's not do that right now. But,
right. Yeah. If there's some evil member of his race, we'll do that to them.
There you go.
But yeah, Shadow of the Kraken. This is the newest campaign number 6. I am a totally trusted creator. Fulfilled 5 campaigns. One is a hardcover book, which is still available as well. But this one, yes, I am working very hard on this. I'm still trying to get it done for the end of the year, bleeding into early 2022. It's going to be a minimum of 50 pages. If you guys like kind of historical pirate stuff, this is definitely the book for you. Although there is a supernatural twist in the story, so it's not just going to be, a history lesson or anything like that. There is a lot going on with this story and these characters. We're going to be diving into kind of what makes these characters tick as well, and kind of what they're going to be going through. Our main character, he starts off as part of the Royal Navy, and then he turns to piracy. There's a lot of nasty things that they were going on, and he kind of has his own codes that he's living by, but he's also being pushed over the edge. He's starting to break his own rules, and this kind of pirate life is also it has its meat hooks into him, so to speak. But you'll see what happens with all that. There's also a really cool treasure that he finds, and among the treasure, there is a map that's carved into the skull. It's also coded. It's going to be connected to a lot of other things.
Cool.
Yeah,
I love that.
I'm going to be deep diving into some really cool stuff with this story in general, and kind of like the start of piracy as well. I'm going to be having some really cool moments in there. Yes, you're going to be seeing some characters and people in history that actually, they're around that time. Possibly Edward Teach. There's going to be some cameos in the first issue alone. I have at least one of them is definitely in the story. But I cannot wait for you guys to get your hands on this and where I'm going with it. This is the first in a series. So all my books are going to be big from here on out, at least 50 pages. I can't wait for you guys to see this. I really can't. But beautiful women, beautiful locations, ship battles, brutality. I'm even going to be touching upon the slave trade in here a little bit as well, since half the crew of the ship, the Kraken, is made up of freed slaves and other defectors from the Royal Crown. So there's going to be a lot to chew on in these pages. And like I said, every page is masterfully done, if I could say so myself. Because it is. I'm doing the drawing, I'm doing the inking, I'm doing the paints, story, lettering, the works, much like City of Venus, which is also going to get a sequel right after this is finished and fulfilled. I am jumping back into City of Venus 2 for you guys. We've been waiting too long for that, so I definitely want to jump back into that one. And the craziness that's going to ensue in that book is going to be next level. But all my projects, they are connected in some way or another. You'll see that in time and what I'm kind of doing with it. But rest assured, it's going to be really cool. You don't have to get everything to understand these stories, but if you want to, you're going to start to see those kind of Easter eggs and other connections with characters and story elements. They'll eventually unfold. So hell
the
yeah.
Vinnyverse.
Yeah, definitely. Mela art
Make the
world,
Vinnyverse happen. That's what's so awesome about indie comics. It's like, it's not just people putting out, a lot of small publishers, they want, like a mini series or something, but people are just diving in and building their own universes and their worlds. And it's like, every book I make is all interconnected. This is great. This is what creativity should be about, man. If you work for a company and you have to rely on them to fund you, they're not going to let you do this. Man, I love crowdfunding. You guys are awesome.
That's what I'm talking about, because I always had fun in that stuff, because it's like the real world. We just talked about a whole bunch of different things, mythology, what's connected, what people think between, the different cultures. Well, there's going to be aspects of that throughout these stories as well. There's going to be things where it feels more tangible, more real, and that's the point of it. To world build like this is really cool. And then the other stuff is going to be connected. I have a really awesome story I kind of hinted at in the past, a medieval tale that actually it's going to be like sword and sorcery.
Oh, no.
That is also connected to this stuff in a certain way, which is going to be really cool. But,
love it.
That's it. We could just keep creating amazing things.
Yes, create amazing things. That should be the tagline for... I'm going to use that. Sorry, Vinny. No, but that's a good model to go by. LM has a question. A lot of pirates are gay. Are your pirates gay too? I mean, a lot of people are gay. Is it a pirate thing?
If you have a pirate story you want to tell that's gay, go for it. Have fun. And in my world, I'm not going there.
Well, you're not showing any explicit content.
It's not necessary to get into that kind of
stuff. But like romance?
Oh, okay.
No, the romance is going to be in the story for sure. Definitely. At least, I have two of my main characters that, you can see on the cover here, a female and a male, that they have a connection.
I'm sure it's not, your main character doesn't have hots for Eye Patch Guy? I mean, I wouldn't mind.
Are you trying to turn this into a yaoi? What's wrong with you?
Don't do that.
Wouldn't it be... okay, all right.
Listen, there's definitely beefcake stuff in there for the ladies as well. There's shirtless guys.
I do like my beefcake. That's all I ask.
Yeah, you've seen some of those pages. There's hot women, the prostitutes over in Nassau. So yeah, there's some stuff in there for everybody. But I think you guys are gonna enjoy it. I'd say everything's it's like a Spawn book, there's that level of violence and sexuality stuff that you could put in there. I'm not going XXX. I don't think there's a need for it, but yeah, the gore, I'm not afraid to get into the gore, but like I said, it has to flow with a story, because if it seems off or it's too forced, it throws you out of these stories. At least that's what I've noticed. I've backed a number of books. I picked up different ones over the years. If things are too in your face and it's just like out of the blue, like I've literally been kind of thrown off from a book. Like, why'd they do that? Like, that doesn't even make sense. But I don't know. Maybe that's just me.
No,
I like to focus on the story and the characters, and you can have moments that it's class. You need to put the class into those aspects.
That's what it's about. The story is it's a characters come first. Characters come first. But all types are welcome here. Just very clear about that. Everyone is welcome here. Tenarian. Oh yeah. Smash the like button. Yes, thank you. Smash the like button. Subscribe if you haven't yet. We're past 1,000 subscribers. I haven't done a thank you stream. I just haven't had the time. But thank you, everyone who has subscribed so far. And if you're a regular watcher and you haven't subscribed, you should. You should, because then you'll get notifications. Subscribe and get notifications, or hit the bell. So, because we stream every Wednesday. You don't want to miss this. What are you waiting two words out there. Let's see. Zay Comics is here. Hey, what's up? Hail. Hey,
What
hey,
up,
hey.
man?
Hey.
Hey.
I need a wizened old ugly guy in this story so I can relate. Oh, Vinny only draws beautiful, sexy people, so I am afraid you're going to be disappointed.
No, there's all different types. There's a few pirates and stuff that they're going to be like old crones. Yeah.
It's okay.
No, it's all good.
It's cool. It's cool. It's all in jest. Everyone but Jason's. What? No! Oh, you're welcome. Come in.
Yeah, what's
You want to
up,
hop
Jason?
on? Yeah, you're more than welcome. You're more than welcome. All right, back Shadow of the Kraken. As I say this, if you like how this book looks, back Shadow of the Kraken, because it's hunks, hordes, and whores. And you don't want to miss this.
There you go.
Hunks, hordes, and whores. Yeah. Or I mix the words up sometimes, but you get the idea.
You know, it always works. So don't worry
It
about
works.
that.
It works. Yeah.
John Connery makes an appearance, post. Frankly, I don't give a damn. No.
Don't give a damn.
Yeah, there's gonna be some cool stuff in here. You guys are gonna dig it for sure.
Shit, yeah. Oh, and I did see the opening page, so I can attest to that's one hell of an opening.
Thank you.
It's like ending on a cliffhanger, but you open on one, and you're like, "What the fuck happened?" And that's all I'm gonna say. But good, very good.
Yeah,
I'm excited to get this book.
Cool. Thank you.
Tanarian, and you got my name right in case some people call me Tanarian. That Tanner Ryan. I try to get people's names. I'm very insistent on pronouncing things, even in like a language I don't know, the right way if I can. So I try. I like to pronounce things correctly. See, all right. So that is Shadow of the Kraken, the book I'm very looking forward to. And here's my book.
Can't bring some of that energy over to mine too, but it's all right.
Oh, sorry. Shadow of the Kraken! This campaign is doing so well. I'm so grateful to everyone who has backed it. Thank you so much. We're at 30,612 USD. But honestly, that's not even, I mean, that's awesome, but that's not the number that I focused so much on. Like after it was like, okay, we made enough to produce it. I'm like, cool. That's just that's all I needed. But what the number that really matters is how many backers there are. That's over 700 backers at this point, and that is amazing. So
hell yeah. That is a beautiful thing. And I did tell you though, I told you were gonna cross that 30 mark before you knew it. You're like, no. I'm like, yeah. I could see the pattern. And it worked.
I don't know. I wasn't expecting it. It's my first comic crowdfunding, so
I backed it twice.
What is that? You did, and thank you. You backed the color book, so I'm not shipping those yet.
Yeah. Well, I backed the black and white with the art book.
Oh well, do you want the black and white book first, or can I ship them together? I was gonna ask
whatever you want to do. Whatever you want to do works. But yeah, if you want to send it earlier, sure, I'll take it. I'm not gonna say no.
Yeah. Well, I was trying to group people's orders together unless they request so. But yeah, I'll send you the grayscale book. The grayscale book is here. Let's see. Let me full screen. Me.
Yeah, it looks amazing. I like the UV touches too there on the cover.
Yeah.
Check it out. The grayscale book exists. So if you back the smoke tier, which is the grayscale book, it's the same contents as the color book, but it's just a variant cover, this like black and white cover. And this is the UV that I don't know if you. Oh, can you see like the gloss on the text here? Like it's kind of hard to see in the lighting, but
when you were moving up and down a bit, you could see it.
Yeah, it's. But anyways, the white part here is like hear that sound? There's UV over the text here and also the logo over here. So and I use like matte lamination and like nice thick paper. So this is the grayscale version. It's 50 story pages and 10 pages of extra content. I got like some, let me see, not gonna spoil too much, but some there's my glossary and my world map in the back, and then here's some like extra content, progress pictures and stuff, and then or progress pencils and snapshots, and this is even here.
Send it to me, girl.
Okay. You're like, I need that now. Cool. I'll send you your grayscale book first. Yeah, I'll send you your grayscale book first. But the grayscale book does exist. It is already in my hands. As I've shipped out about I've shipped out a handful, I think like 40 books at this point. But I've got another batch of like 20 books going out tomorrow. My local post office hates me, but they're just gonna have to deal with it.
Well, it happens. Like I gave you the tip to kind of make them at least a little more friendly with you.
Oh yeah. I mean, they haven't been that annoyed. They have been interested. They're like, oh, you're selling books. What do you make? Oh, it's so cool. You have a small business. They've been very helpful. But I think after like the 50th trip, they're gonna be like, what the hell are you? I'm just like, here's my comic. I hope you like it.
Do all these books come signed?
Yes, they do.
Oh, okay. I thought that was just unique, so I could sell this on eBay. Never mind.
Well, damn, I'm not that nice. No, I was thinking of only signing the ones for the active campaign, but I was like, oh, I'll sign all of them. Yeah, it's not that much trouble. So yeah, all the books are signed on the back cover over the map. So yeah. Is that my own rune language? Let me tell you about my constructed language. So I built a fantasy language, and it's called Minarsa. And it's so my story takes place in a completely fantastical world, and I figured that I wanted this to be immersive, and it wouldn't be immersive if the people were like, because writing is important to the story, and you see things written, and part of like searching for truth and looking through records is part of the story. So if it was just in English, that wouldn't make sense. So I had to make it immersive. So I had to make the writing that showed up in the story in a fantasy language. So I decided to just actually build a language. So if you go on the website at fiendishcomic.com, which is also in the description, you can go to the Minarsa language tab and see this, which is my fantasy language. And here I have the basic alphabet. This is the phonetic alphabet, but actually I also have like logograms, but that's a little too complicated. I'll slowly be teaching people like the logograms and stuff. Like you see the back here, I have the alphabet, and these are like the logograms. So the logograms are basically like kanji in Chinese characters. And it's like, for example, like this character is Leven, but it means forest, but it's only written in one character. So it's kind of like how that works. Like common words can be written in just like one symbol, but that's like this thing I'll slowly introduce. But so it's not entirely phonetic. It's a little more complicated, but I don't know. It just like felt right to me. But and then I have like a glossary for like if there's any Minarsa in the book, there's a glossary in the back, so you don't have to actually translate it yourself, because I'm not that much of a masochist. But yeah.
Slow down.
Breathe.
But yeah, if you go on my website, you can check out this language. And not only do I have the alphabet here, I have the dictionary.
Yeah, so you got to get familiar with it, because this is going to be the new language to the new world, okay? So when we got to rebuild from scratch, this is going to be your new language. Make sure to get the book so that way you know how to speak.
Look. I'm still building it, but I don't know. This is enough to
still building it. All this is a work in progress. Okay.
It is a work in progress. So here are the common words, the relationships and professions, colors, units. But anyways, I don't know why anybody would be interested in actually looking through this, but if you want to, it's here. Yeah. So there you go.
Wait. You don't know why anybody would want to, but you're still building it.
Right.
Well, like learn a language and everything, but like, you know, I don't know, it's fun to me. I really like languages. I'm learning like 2 extra languages right now. It's just this thing, like, because
that is great though.
Like the linguistic history and what language descended from which, and it's like how you have Indo-European, like my world is kind of, the continents are based on like my fantasy versions, Indo-European cultures, and the way that, I don't know, the way I kind of I like to understand cultures by looking at language, because language is tied to culture, and you can also, it's like a genetic map of culture as well, and of people group movements. So I think that this stuff is, you know, it's interesting, and tying into our talk about mythology, even though this isn't really mythology, I take a lot of inspiration from real world ancient history, like I mentioned, Indo-European history, and how that people group kind of influenced like some European culture, but also India and the Middle East, and that I kind of like built my own fantasy version of that like demographic, that cultural history, you know, and like different groups that are all related, like Indo-European kind of people group descendants that are related in that way. So, but then like the Ispoliad, which is Ragna, my green hair girl, she's taken from the Isfalin, which is from Bulgarian mythology. I'm getting way too into it. I'm all over the place. But anyways, by Fiendish.
It's interesting. I think when you get to the other books, people are going to have more of those kind of questions, and you're going to be able to just spit it out in a great way, and they're going to be like, oh, okay, now this makes sense to me, and they'll understand it more, I think, once they get it in hand.
I hope so, because I have done a lot of world building, and again, like what Joe was saying, I built the world around my story and what was necessary for the characters. But obviously, the story of my characters is driven by my interests, and the world that I build is also driven by my interests. So it just kind of meshes together. And I've done a lot of very extensive research, and I have like tons and tons of documents written on this. So it's like, I feel like, you know, like what Chimera said, isn't really necessary if you felt like it wouldn't matter that much if you didn't build I mean, I didn't have to build a language. I think the story could still be told without it. I could just like scribble random runes, and it didn't have to actually make sense on the page. But when you do see any runes or any writing in my comic, it actually makes sense. So I didn't have to go to that level, but I think it's worth it. I don't know. Like, this is what I always say, because I'll never tell people how to create their own works, right? Some people think that, well, they want to throw out, like they want to just be an idea machine, and like they don't want to get too attached to things to create. That's cool, but that's not how I operate, because I feel like it's not just like, you know, they say don't put all your eggs in one basket. Well, I don't. I have backup careers. There's a lot of things I can do. I can do translation and tons of other stuff. But I'm doing comics because I love it. And why would anyone be invested in this if I don't let my investment show? If I'm not obsessed with it, if I don't absolutely fucking love what I'm doing and put everything that, if I don't love this project and put my heart into it, then why would anyone else care? So that's how I approach it. And that's why I'm so freaking obsessive. And I do stuff like build a fantasy language, because I think it helps push the story forward. But it shows people that it's like almost compulsion for me. But I think it's worth it, even though it's technically not necessary. Well, none of this is necessary. I don't have to do this, but it's because I have a story to tell.
Right. If it adds to the world that you're creating and you want to do it and you have the time to do it, then do it. Why the hell not? You know?
Yeah.
That's the beauty about it. Like,
well, I won't say I have the time to do it, but
well, you're making the time to do it, but that's the thing too. Like, and what you said about these people that they just want to be idea machines and just crank it out and not be attached to anything. That's an odd way of approaching things, and I've seen a lot.
I don't understand it, but sure.
Exactly, I don't either. Because don't you want to be connected to what you're building? Don't you want to continue to grow it and think about these characters and revisit them in different ways if you could, even later on after you're done with the story, or you want to do a side story on that world? And that's the thing. If you care about it enough, you can keep adding and building to it. And like you said, it's not about putting all your eggs in one basket. I've proved it this year as well. The past 2 years, I jump genres all the time. Because I like to storytell, and I love different genres. I'm not just, like typecast, so to speak, on a certain thing. That's not just, modern day action or superhero. It's not just ghosts. You could jump all over the place. Do whatever you want. Just make sure that you care about what the hell you're doing. Because if you don't care, no one's going to care, and it's going to fall flat. Yep.
That is true. That at least you have to. It's more than just a cool idea. A cool idea. No, I'm looking at the updates. Cool idea will definitely help. That's what's most important. You have to have like a cool character, an interesting character journey. But when you're invested, it shows in the work. So, and I think that's what all of us are about. Yeah.
Damn
And
right.
here, the color pages coming in. Colors. Oh, I showed them last week, but I'm going to keep on showing them. I'm going to have some more real soon because Nick just turned in some more colors. Yeah, it shows your fans you're really committed. That's right. Tenarian, I guess I am a bit of a nerd after all. What are you talking about? None of us here are nerds. I'm so offended. How dare you say that? We're not nerds. I just play Pathfinder and make up imaginary languages for my
We're
comics.
nerds.
No, this is the nerdiest fucking place on the internet. Other people
No,
know
these
English. I barely know English. English hard. What? English. English hard to speak. Me no talk. Me no talk, right? I wasn't trying to embarrass you. Oh, Dirty Face says my world map got out of hand quick. That does happen. Yeah, I mean, dude, world maps are so much fun. I got so carried away with mine. This isn't, so what I have in, oh, by the way, this is the color version of the cover. I should post it on the main campaign just so I'm clear. So the this grayscale version is the special variant, and the color version is going to have this as the cover. So, and I'm going to do the UV spot gloss on this as well.
Nice.
My world making maps are addicting. It's really easy to carry away. This isn't even my whole world. This is like one corner of the world where like this is where the story matters. But I have everything else planned out. I have this is where the rest of the continent is. There's another like empire to the east, and then there's this what's to the south, and I have my fantasy Africa that like to the further to the west, and then like this whole
to the east.
Yes. Why? What?
Nothing.
What? What did it sound like I said?
No, I heard empire to the east. Continue.
Oh yeah, and there's a like a continent, and then there's a huge empire that's like my fantasy Japan merged with China, and we're gonna go there briefly, but
Taiwan takes over.
that's it's just all Taiwan. But that's like that's Taya you see on the right side, but that's like a huge continent. It's like bigger than Arvos and Discara combined, and it's gigantic. There's a huge empire that takes on most of it, since the most advanced place on the planet. But that's not where our story begins. Our characters are from Arvos, so it's kind of more like a tribalistic city-state kind of society, and it's a very cold continent. So that's where our story starts. With where most of our like major characters are from. But I saw it through this world because I feel like I want it to feel like it's alive, right? If a character's in a port city, well, what are the people in the port going to be dressed like? Because you're going to have travelers and merchants from all over the world. And like, what are the sea routes that would be accessible from this particular shoreline? Like, think about these things. So again, if you're invested, your readers are going to be invested. Yep.
Absolutely.
I don't even have dungeons on the map. Well, you see, actually, I'm just kidding. But I do have like this idea of catacombs all over the continent, because that's another thing that's from like real world lore. And there are a lot of old catacombs all over like the Middle East and in Europe. In Europe, you know where a lot of these catacombs come from, but in the Middle East, it's like in Turkey, there's this. I'm blanking on the name, but there's an underground city, and like nobody knows who built it or where or like who was living there. But there's these like this huge underground city that was just uncovered, and was this Dirankara? I don't. Turkish is hard, but I can't remember the name. It's something Kara, starts with a D. But there are all these catacombs all over the world, and in Egypt as well. So it makes you wonder where.
I've been to them.
All over the world. Yeah.
That's
so
awesome.
it makes you wonder. It makes you wonder. So I have a lot of like catacombs, and there's a mystery tied to it that will be revealed further on in the story, but I will not spoil that as of yet.
Wicked.
It's okay. I won't. It's hard. Well, none of this is like essential. There's a lot more to this story. There's a lot more, dude. It's I'm not spoiling that much. I'm just telling you about the world building. Yeah.
Some locations. Shh.
That's not true, Tenarian. Yeah. So anyhow, I'm very obsessive, and this is my comic. You should check it out. The premise of the story is it's about a group of young men and women on a journey of vengeance against otherworldly monsters, and these like creatures that you see at the beginning beginning. See this thing over here. My main character, Casimir, where you see here as a young boy. He's a younger boy over here. When he was young, his hometown was attacked by these mysterious demonic creatures, and nobody knows where they came from, even though this is a fantasy world and there are like magical beasts and stuff. This is something new, and they kind of disappeared again, and Casimir survived, was the only one in his family to survive, and he ran away and grew up somewhere else and tried to forget about it, and kind of became like withdrawn, asshole-ish characters, lived in the wild. But one day, many years later, when he's an adult, these monsters come back again, and he realized he can't run away from his past. He has to return to his past, or at least go on a journey to uncover what exactly brought about these monsters. And he knows that he's uniquely qualified and able to discover or to find the truth behind this demonic infestation because of his memories and because he was there when they first showed up in their world. So that's what the story is about, and he's joined by some like-minded companions, and it reads like, basically I'm really into D&D. It's very inspired by like a D&D campaign, but it's not like they all meet in a tavern and they're adventurers. Well, no, it's characters, they're going on a journey, and I like that kind of story. It's like, I love Lord of the Rings, so it's like Lord of the Rings meets H.P. Lovecraft. So Lord of the Rings, but like darker with like eldritch monsters. So there you go. And with a lot of Berserk influence. So if any of that sounds good to you, check it out.
It sounds great. Give me my book.
Okay. I will ship your book. I will ship your book right now. Sounds like Goblin Slayer. Well, it's like, that's the thing. A lot of manga is like really inspired by D&D. D&D is really big in Japan, which I was really surprised to find out, because it's not big anywhere else in Asia. Like I went back to Taiwan for a few years. I couldn't find anybody to play with. It's just nobody plays D&D there. People are really into MMORPGs, but not tabletop role playing. But D&D is huge in Japan, so you have stuff like Lotus War. Like that time I was reincarnated by slime. Every single isekai, Goblin Slayer, tons of stuff are inspired by Delicious Dungeon, are inspired by D&D. So yeah, it's there's going to be similarities, but the thing is, I didn't want it to feel like I was just ripping off Tolkien or ripping off D&D. It's if you notice, I'm putting first of all, I wanted to do something a little different from like the standard, or like the more common, I shouldn't say standard, but like the more common, medieval European aesthetic. And I don't know if it shows through, but I'm actually going for a mix of Nordic and Slavic architecture and culture for the specific part of the continent where the story starts. And most of the continent is kind of like especially in the north, it's Slavic, and then to the east of it, there's like Nordic. It's more like a Nordic aesthetic, but I kind of mix it together. And it's still European, but I really like European ancient history. And I think that's something that hasn't super been done before, probably other than The Witcher, but I also love The Witcher, so that's cool. So yeah, like I love stuff like Tolkien and D&D, but I want to do something different visually, but also the story is my own, and the world is something new that I built. It's not just a lot of isekai. It's like they're taking monsters from D&D and stuff. I don't do that. Like, I built my own races. I built my own magic system, and I can't wait to introduce that. That's going to be in the third book. So yeah, it's I got pretty deep into this. Yeah, it's like awesome. Yeah, it's like a fantasy RPG campaign, but I built everything. Yeah! Wizardry is big in Japan. Yes, it is big in Japan.
Yeah, I noticed. Yeah.
I was reading up on like ancient Japanese wizards. They have like the Heian era and stuff. It's very fascinating. Anyways, that's a distraction. I like history. History is fun.
Yeah, it is.
I should become a Saturday morning cartoon. I mean, hey, if someone wants to pay me for it, I'll do it. That's cool.
She's a Wednesday night cartoon.
No, on Netflix.
Oh no, I will no.
No live action.
Never. I will never sell out to Netflix.
We'll see.
No. I mean, if
everybody has a price.
From like how weird they are and how just like money, like I don't know, maybe, but I don't know. I don't like Netflix as they are right now. No. Tenaria says, I'm from from Wizardry the game? Oh, no, Tanina said, I'm from a Nordic country, no pressure. Oh boy. Well, there's a reason I'm doing fantasy.
Yeah,
So I don't have to say exactly true. I mean, I try to do my research, and of course you have to be respectful to people's cultures, right? But you know, it's also just because I like doing fantasy, and it's everything in here is a fantastical version or a big mishmash of things from the real world. So it's not just completely like this place is I don't know, Sweden, and this place is Bulgaria. It's not like that. But it all makes sense within the world. It all makes sense. Goblin Slayer is a chat. No! Well, I don't. Amazon. I mean, Comixology is owned by Amazon. Is that selling out to put my book on Comixology? It depends.
Well, just don't name
you.
companies.
What?
Don't name companies yet. I said don't name companies on air then.
Oh, okay. I won't. Okay. Yeah. I don't know. I don't know where I'm going to be putting in this book. Yeah. All right. I think. Let's see. Probably hasn't gone up much so far. Oh yeah, 7.5. Okay. Oh, cool. But I have the colors in the update, so check those out, and I'll be posting some more colors really soon. So yeah, thank you again, everyone who has gotten this book, and the people who have backed the smoke here. You should be getting your book really soon, as evidenced by here. These are thank you, Chimera. These are your pictures, but. These are pictures from backers who got their books, and here's a picture from somebody else. So, and here's my stack of books that went out the other day, and I have like 20 more I'm going to mail tomorrow. So yes, thank you, everybody. That's awesome. Thank you. I really like the packing tape. I think that worked out really well.
Yeah, that looks great.
Yeah.
Very cool.
I'll sell it for a good sandwich. Well, that is hard to resist. I might have to agree. Hargrave Production says, I can't send super chats on here. Super chats would be great. Yeah. I am at 1,000 subscribers, but I'm very far from the watch hours.
All the watch hours.
Yeah. Very far. It's ridiculous. And I'm not gonna go and be like, oh, like get someone to just replay my videos. No, I'm gonna get there organically. But it's just going to take a while. So it's just what it is. But every week at the same time, I'll stream every Wednesday. And hopefully that helps, you know. And so people know that every Wednesday I'll go live. Even if like last week I was really busy, I didn't do like this show. I didn't do a HELLION art show where we actually like talk about a subject relating to comics and promote books. But I still did a stream to update people. So every Wednesday. And this Sunday, I will be doing our first... or not our first, but our first proper module for our Pathfinder stream. So I have another series that I just started on my channel. It's called Pathfinder Party, and it's I'm really surprised people were interested in it, but because Nick and AC, and Nick's my colorist, and AC is also helping me on Phoenix. We're all rabid Pathfinder players, so we decided we'll start doing a series introducing new players to the game, and Vinny will be here as well as Sugar Chris. So this Sunday at 1 p.m. EST, we'll be doing our first module. We built our character sheets a couple weeks ago, and I have that as a playlist on my channel as well, so check that out. And it'll be like more of an irregular thing, but it's gonna be a series. We're gonna be doing like introduction videos and short little modules. So if you're interested in role-playing games, just don't know what the fuck we're talking about when we go on a giant tangent, when Nick and AC are on my stream, because it always happens, talking about Pathfinder, then you should check those out and join us if you can, because I'm sure it's going to be a lot of fun. Once again, we have like half orc Alex Jones and druggy Drew, which is my character, who grows weed in his beard. It's great.
And Ariel is very serious. When I came in, we had to finish building our characters. When I came in, all I heard was her yelling at everybody.
Oh,
no, you're doing it all wrong. You need to follow the instructions I gave you. And I'm like, hi.
Oh, she gets a bit intense. It's just, I mean, we're all just really obsessive about the game, you know, and she built like this crazy detailed character sheet, like this PDF character sheet. So it's like, you're not doing the character sheet wrong. It's cool. Yeah, she's not really yelling at you. She's just intense.
Oh yeah, no, she was yelling at you guys when I came in.
Oh yeah, she's yelling at me. Yeah, it's fine.
She's like, Irene, shut up, and you're like, okay, and you kept yourself on mute most of the time. She's like, oh my god, she's yelling at me again.
What? Oh no, it's. I mean, it's fine.
You grabbed your security blanket. You cried.
Yeah, I was just rocking in the background my security blanket, like it's yelling at me again. Ariel's also my Ariel AC. I call her Ariel in normal life, but she proofreads my comic for me as well. I send Fiendish to her to read, and I'm used to getting yelled at, so it's fine.
I have that too with my editor as well. He yells at me all the time.
Right? Yeah. I mean, you just get used to it.
Yeah.
That's what. Yeah. It just happens. If an editor doesn't yell at you, that means they're not invested and they're not a good editor. Okay. So I want my editor to yell at me. That means they actually give a shit and they're correcting me and making my work better. Okay. Unhinged Entertainment says, get booed down in here. You stream for 26 hours straight. Get monetized. Yeah, I should do that. Well, Boobdan has the link, but I guess he's busy today. He's always welcome to come on. He's fantastic. I love having him on. Half Orc Alex shows. Yup, that's what you're gonna see. You don't want to miss that. So come join us on Sunday.
Sunday.
Oh my gosh, Sunday. Irene only does Pathfinder to abuse Blingo. Oh my gosh, well, Blingo is a corpse right now, and we don't know if he's going to come back. We haven't gone back to that module yet, but sorry, Blingo's vengeful ghost. And then Jenny said, I fire my editor every other day. She tells me nothing. Oh my gosh. Well, hey, whatever works for you. You got to find an editor that like is intense and yells at you. It's like, why are you doing this? Fix this. What is this lettering? Okay.
Wait, Jason, I thought you like when they yell at you. And they stand over you. And they make you do things. No, wait.
Oh boy.
Never mind.
Oh wait, that's something else. I think we're getting confused. Yeah.
Jason, eat your sandwich. Be good.
What does that even mean?
I mean, he talked about his sandwich before.
Okay, all right. I'm so confused. His editor is Shay. Yeah, Shay is lovely. But I'll let her yell at me. I bet she's a fantastic editor. All right. We're
backstage secrets.
Secrets. We're approaching 2.5 hours, so I think it's about time we wrap things up. Is there anything that you want to promote, Chimera? Because your campaign closed and you're shipping books, right?
Yeah, I'm still waiting for the printers. It's been like 10 days. I guess they're busy, but I should be getting them tomorrow.
A lot of people are fulfilling like right now, so it's probably why.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
Or maybe it's the shipping because shipping went up because of the storm.
It did. I heard that too recently. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But I also heard that there might be a bit of a trucker strike that's happening right now as well. So keep your eyes open.
Oh joy!
Yeah, because I know they did it overseas. Australia did it, but I heard that they started doing it over here as well. So there might be some delays and stuff.
Oof. Well, hopefully I'll be able to get the color book. Well, I'll allow some extra time for. Yeah. Well, I'll expect some delays with the color book. Then. Yeah, it's a month out from now when I'll be printing the color book. But these things happen. Yeah, it happened. It's unfortunate, but
I fulfilled a hardcover book that was literally a ton of books during the height of all this stuff when it first happened. So trust me, I know the craziness that happens, and don't worry, the books will get to you. They will definitely get to you.
Well, yeah, there's some things that are just out of your control because the pandemic or whatever the hell is going on, because apparently the world is ending right now. But dude, what matters is you're updating people and you let them know what's going on. So
as the world's burning, we're still creating, so don't worry.
You're right. I like that catch line. We've had some really good catch lines today. As the world is burning, we're still creating. That's good. That's good. I'm gonna make an intro of that and just use that. Well, all right. I guess Vinny, where can people find you?
At Vinny Art on Twitter, on YouTube. Again, like I said, I put up kind of a funny video just the other day. It's only 10 minutes. You can check it out. I'm still doing toy reviews. I still have the master classes you guys could check out. That should be it for now. And I am currently working on these pages. I'm going to do an update, I think, this week for Shadow of the Kraken as well. show a couple more pieces of artwork. I'll let you guys know where I'm at with everything, but we're on a great pace still. So yeah, you should be getting everything in a timely fashion. That's for sure. Just like my other projects.
Awesome.
Yeah.
That's
you.
that's what people like to hear. And yet, as 24 Eyes says, if you don't have some kind of crazy 1-year delay, it's not really a big deal. That's what I've been told, but I still want to try to be as on time as possible. Of course, yeah. My goal is to be on time. And this first book, it's I had a how do you say it, wrench thrown in the mix because I wasn't expecting it to do well. I wasn't expecting it to do colors. So we've had a month, probably a month and a half delay. I'm expecting to ship the colors like late September, October. But you live and learn. And the next book, I'll be launching the chapter 2 campaign by the end of the year, I think. So I'm going to try to launch it as soon as I can. And I'll have I'll have like a longer production schedule for that. I'll fulfill that like probably mid next year or something. So yeah, I've learned a lot, and I can plan for the second book much better now. And it's just what you do. It's what you do. But I like to be. It's about communication, right?
Of course.
It's about communication. Be on time if you can, and also tell the backers if something's going on, because they're giving you money and they're paying you. Exactly. Oh, right at the end, we have Jason.
All night. Let's get going. Time to stream. Monetization.
Start from the beginning.
That's right. Let's start over.
No,
death. Death. Back at today. Back at once. Back at twice. Back at 3 times.
Back death. Back shout out to the Kraken. Back fiendish, and Testament is already down. But
back it anyway. Back it all.
Back it anyway. Yeah, look for it on eBay.
There you go. Get it on eBay now. $49.95 plus shipping.
You're selling extra books on eBay anyway, so yeah, you can find it on eBay. There you go.
Oh,
Did he just jump in to say that? Jason? Yo, freaking legendary. Jason, I love you. You're awesome. Yeah. Oh, and back Absolute Book 2. I was going to say that, but then he jumped off.
I said it, but he was talking over me.
Oh my gosh. So everyone, that was Jason, back Absolute Book 2. It's an awesome book, and Jason is great people.
That's right. Even if he has to fire people every other day for yelling at him.
Right. Whatever works, right? You fire your editor and you rehire them every day. Yeah. Right. Oh my gosh. Back. Death. You should do. That's a good tagline. That's all. That's a good tagline. Yeah. All right. Yeah, I do have to wrap it up because I'm trying to like crunch out some pages so like I said, I want to launch the chapter 2 campaign. So I have to get the inks done for the more important pages, like the kind of like the complex pages, and like I have some pages that this is a cool shot. Okay, I want this to be in the campaign. I want to use it on the campaign page. So I'm getting those pages done, but then I have to give them to Nick to color, and then I also have to get back to doing like the demon plaque. So I just got a lot going on. But yeah, I'm still gonna come on here and update everybody. So right. But I do have to get back to work. So Chimera, where can people find you?
Yep, Chimera the Hut on Twitter, and I posted an update on Testament. The ash can is done, and the print file is being assembled, so I'll be putting in the order for the ash cans.
Nice.
Woo! Awesome. All right, and you can find me at Rini Draws. Yeah. Everywhere on Instagram. I have an Instagram. So follow me on Instagram. I'm Rini Draws on like every website. So Twitter and a Facebook page, but ignore that. I don't give a shit about Facebook anymore. And also YouTube. Obviously, you're probably watching this on YouTube. But if you aren't subscribed yet, you should definitely subscribe, hit like, and ring the bell. I stream every Wednesday at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and next week will be the same. And every time we usually have a guest on, and we talk about a subject relating to comics. I'll try to see if I can get Nick, and I don't want to like say any other guests, but I think we'll be talking about coloring next week, but I'm not sure. But we'll see. I'll announce the subject on my Twitter. But more importantly, this Sunday is going to be our second Pathfinder stream. So that's at 1 p.m. EST on my channel as well. So if you're interested in watching us do funny voices and yell at each other for a couple hours, come here and it'll be a great time.
Absolutely.
Yeah. All right, everyone. Thank you for joining us. And everyone, have a good night. Bye.
Have a great night.
Yeah.
Bye. You're awesome. Bye.